monthly meeting of the school board. We actually started at 5:30. We had a non-public meeting before that. So we've already called the roll. So the next item is approval of the agenda. Board members, do you have any additions, subtractions, edits to the agenda? If not, I will take a motion to approve the agenda.
So moved.
Moved by Ms. Boucher. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Ms. Robinson. Is there discussion? Seeing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Next is the consent agenda, which includes the minutes from the monthly board meeting of November 3rd, the building committee meeting of November 6th, the instructional committee meeting of November 10th, the special board meeting of November 12th, the executive committee meeting of November 17th, the city and community relations committee meeting of November 17th, and the communications and policy committee meeting of November 19th. Can I have a motion to approve the consent?
So moved.
Moved by
Second.
Ms. Higgins, second by Ms. Boucher. Is there discussion?
I have one thing to question.
Yep.
Page 29. The motion was moved by Barb Higgins, second by Ms. Boucher. The motion to recommended that the city and the district was passed. Is that referring to the motion above? If so, I just want to be clear on what that motion is that was passed.
Oh, good point.
It's just wording.
So we can amend I propose amending the minutes to read, Barb Higgins moved that the committee recommends.
And then whatever that was.
The cost of permitting and design phase be split 50/50.
Oh, okay, that's what it
Yes.
is, okay. Because, yeah, that's not reading right.
Yeah, it was two things.
And
Yeah.
period, and then the motion was seconded by Ms. Boucher. Does that work?
Yes, I just wanted to.
Someone second my amendment?
Well, the final sentence should just say the motion passed.
Yep.
I'll second that.
Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Okay. Any other edits? All those in favor of the consent agenda as amended?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion passes. Today we're pleased to welcome the students from Broken Ground School to hear their presentation. Mr. Apucci, are you going to introduce them? I would like to invite any parents who want to get a better view. You're welcome to stand around the side to take your pictures if you like.
So members of the board, thank you for inviting Broken Ground here tonight. I'm going to keep this short on my part so that our actors and actresses can share some information with you. But you all have worked very hard on A Portrait of a Learner, and it's new to us, it being coming in last year. So we're starting to talk about it a little bit with our kids and do different things. But we thought it'd be a great activity for us to look at The Portrait of a Learner and show how our Kids in Action drama program, headed by Ms. Hamilton, who's right over here, exemplifies a lot of the traits that you have. So Dr. Herbert, if you could just flip to slide 2, you see a little crosswalk. Slide 3 is basically what you're going to hear tonight, our students sharing how they are going to start demonstrating these characteristics in their play production. All right, so first let's just start by saying our names and our grades.
My name is Arbor, and I'm in 5th grade.
My name is Kendall, and I'm in 5th grade.
My name is Alex, and I'm in 4th grade.
My name is Hunter, I'm in 5th grade. My name's Emily, and I'm in 5th grade.
My name is Bennett, and I'm in 3rd grade.
My name is Casey, and I'm in 4th grade.
My name is Masa, and I'm in 5th grade.
She wants to stay with us. She's going to put herself in 3rd grade. But Masa's going to kick it off. If you could go to slide 4.
Hello, school board members. We're excited to share how our work in Kids in Action drama and producing the play Finding Nemo will show the qualities in The Portrait of a Learner. The production process helps us grow as learners and leaders through this presentation, we will highlight how our upcoming performance will demonstrate creativity, collaboration, and self-direction. These are key components of the portrait of a learner, and we are proud to show how we embody them through our drama activities.
In drama, we will think creatively to bring characters to life. We will ask questions like, how would Nemo feel in this scene? What actions show Dory's personality?
We will work as a team to show we are in the depths of the sea or confined in a fish tank. We will be flexible when things change, like learning new lines or fixing stage problems.
This process encourages us to use our imagination and problem-solving skills, which are essential traits of being creative and skillful learners.
By engaging in these activities, we will develop our ability to think outside the box and respond flexibly to new challenges.
Putting on a play takes teamwork. We will learn to listen to each other's ideas and respect different opinions. We will use time management to practice and meet deadlines. When challenges come up, like forgetting lines.
We will persevere and help each other. We will solve problems together, like how to make the ocean scene look real, or how to get sharks to pass by all of the fish backstage without eating them.
These experiences will help us build a strong communication and cooperation skill.
Working together on the play will teach us how to support one another and achieve common goals, which are important aspects of being collaborative learners.
We will be responsible for learning our parts and practicing at home. We will make decisions about how to act and move on stage. We will learn new skills like projecting our voices and using technology for sounds and lights.
We will reflect after rehearsals to improve and grow, along with Google Classroom to take lyric quizzes and study dance videos. These actions show that we are self-directed learners who take ownership of our learning.
By preparing for the play, we will develop independence and confidence in our abilities. This will help us become more effective learners both in and outside the classroom.
Drama will teach us more than acting. It will teach us to be creative, collaborative, and self-directed learners. These skills will help us in the school and in life. Thank you for supporting Kids in Action Drama and helping us become Portrait of a Learner students. Through this experience, we will grow in ways that align with the goals of our school and community. We appreciate the opportunity to share our journey and demonstrate how we are becoming well-rounded learners prepared for future success. Who knows? I might become the president of the school board one day.
And now, here's a sneak peek into this year's show, Finding Nemo. We hope to see you there. Hit it!
What if, oh wow, wouldn't it be cool if we maybe met a shark at school? Or an angelfish, I hear they have wings. Can you believe there are so many things in the big blue world? We're gonna go explore in the big blue world.
board members have any questions for our students today? Mr. Richard?
Well, I don't have a question, but I just want to compliment you on being outstanding public speakers and very good presenters and really good singers. So thank you for coming in.
You did a great job. We'll give you a minute to leave unless you want to stay, Arbor, to prepare for being future school board president. You might want to learn about how these meetings go, but you can also head out if you guys want.
Go ahead, you get up and say.
All right.
Give him a minute.
Oh, I'm out.
Doesn't seem possible they're already doing this. But I guess it is a fine good school.
Yeah. It was so much fun. I love doing KIA.
Dude, KIA is the best. All right, great. Thank you, folks. Next up, we have our student report from Erin and Clementine.
Hello everyone. I hope everyone had a good Thanksgiving break. Not much has happened over November due to break and lots of holidays, but successful parent-teacher conferences happened throughout the school district at both the elementary, middle, and high school level. Some exciting news at CHS is that all the CHS yearbooks from 1927 to 2025 have been digitalized and can be accessed through the CHS library website. Thank you to Ms. O'Brien for doing all of this. Senior One Acts will be held in the band room this Thursday through Saturday from Thursday through Saturday at 7 p.m. The CHS Music Department will also be holding their winter concert this December 10th at 6:30 p.m. at the Capitol Center for the Arts. Please come and support. Thank you, and I hope you have a great month.
Hello, it's great to see everyone again. It was a pretty busy month, you could say, for the students. We are fast approaching the end of the year. We are starting winter sports. We had cheerleading, basketball, and ice hockey tryouts today, both boys and girls, and those are happening throughout the week. We also have upcoming Meet the Coaches Night on December 11th. I also wanted to take a moment to acknowledge how the Feminism Now Club has raised $667 for the food bank in the previous week. Be the Change and Racial Equity Club are planning on an upcoming leadership activity with the elementary schools, as well as making presentations for the sophomores, known as Around the World. Furthermore, we've also have the upcoming NEASAC visit going through December 8th through 10th. Sessions are Monday and Tuesday, maybe Wednesday, where the New England Association of Schools and Colleges will spend the days evaluating our practices, assessment strategies, the condition of the building, as well as opportunities available to the students. No pressure at all. So it looks like there's going to be around 6 to 7 inches of snow tomorrow.
I see what you did.
So, if not more, there you go, Mr. Herbert. Please give us a snow day tomorrow.
This is the hardest part, Dr. Herbert. This is the hardest part.
All right,
You'll
that'll
be
be
wrong
all
no
for
matter
me.
what you do.
Yeah,
When
thank
you
you.
make the call. Thank you. I just want to say I drove 600 miles round trip this past weekend, and do you know how many opportunities there are for a middle schooler to go 6, 7 on a Dr. Herbert, if you can give us your report.
All right. So just a few updates for the board. Recently at the comp for the transportation, we do have the electric charging stations for our new electric buses. They are installed. They're currently, if I'm correct on this, Jack, they're going through an updating process, like onboarding, so they're able to begin charging buses.
Yeah, we're going to get them connected to the internet, and then we'll configure them. and then wait for the buses.
Two of the buses are currently in Maine with the camera system being installed in them, and the third is still down in South Carolina being put together. But shortly, we'll have those 3 buses in our conf yard.
Do we know what routes they're gonna be on? I'm sure everybody wants to know who's gonna get to use the electric buses first.
We don't have that detailed yet.
Yeah, I think we only have 5 or 7 drivers that are eligible because they have air brakes, so that'll be an exclusive club. But we don't know yet. They're a little scared of it at the moment, but we'll work through it.
Thank you, Jack.
So prior to the break, we did, when I say we did, some of the leadership team from the SAU central office met with city officials to discuss collaboration, common projects such as Memorial Field, as well as bonding out our projects and trying to be, strategic about it for the taxpayers of Concord. I highlight this. There was some good conversation, and there will be continued meetings between the two leadership teams to try and increase our collaboration and looking towards the future for the city of Concord as a united team. Anything, Jack, Matt, you would like to add to that? You were present with me for that.
Good.
Who did you meet?
We met with the city manager, deputy city manager, and Department of Public Works.
Deputy City Manager of Finance, Deputy City Manager for
Manager.
Community Development, and City Manager.
Thank you.
Yeah, I think that was everybody, right? Yeah, that was right, yeah.
So next, just to give an update, we do have a committee getting together for the Special Education Continuous Improvement Plan. Barb and Sarah, board representatives, will be participating in that. I did share in this past week's board memo just an outline after reviewing it with people who were part of the original development, who have some experience rolling it out in the schools, as well as Jenny was part of that with me. Put together just an outline of it and starting to put together a format of how we can work to evaluate this across the different schools that it references, from the elementary up to the high school. So the next steps is getting the whole committee together, talking about that and trying to chunk that out over time, looking at exact actionable items that were listed in the report, as well as data that we can gather from the different schools to measure what progress we made, where we stand, what goals we've achieved, where we still have to work, and be able to give a comprehensive report out. And then a positive one that does require, not that the others weren't positive, but does require a board vote, is a recent donation to CRTC. We recently received a Ford Focus for our automotive program. I believe it's page
32.
Is it 32? So given the monetary value of that vehicle, it does require a board vote to accept.
Put that as 13A. Or
And then what do, after that? The theater program at Concord High School. So I say Concord High School because I will pass this around for you. I did, working with Ann Fowler and our CRTC theater program, there has been changes to some of the requirements that are there hasn't been changes to requirements there. We have been just informed that theater no longer qualifies for CRTC funding or CTE funding from the state of New Hampshire. I'll pass this around. This is a summary document Ann and I have been working on, just getting clear bullet points of why this has changed. And I share this with you, as many of you know, we have a robust theater program at Concord High School. We have a very strong performing arts community within our school district. And we want to, get ahead of this, knowing that in the 26-27 school year, theater program will no longer be a supported CRTC program. However, the things that will still remain, we still have a drama club that puts on our senior one acts, that puts on our spring musical, that participates in the New Hampshire Film Festival competition, the All-State Film Festival competition. So we'll still have that, but in addition to that, we will still look at Concord High School how to provide a theater program or a course that supports our theater programs. In the past, it's been done through other departments. It hasn't always been a CRTC course in other districts who have theater classes. It's taught in other departments. It's performing arts, English are a couple that come to mind right away. But the reason we share this information is because we understand the active theater community we have within our school district. And we have been working since Ann and I first learned about this potential, I would say June of last year, that this was likely coming down. We got confirmation in August, and this is our bulleted points that we have to share as to exactly why this is the case. But we've been working together to identify what components of theater and performing arts can remain in CRTC, would be supported, like visual, audio production, lighting, sounding. So there's components of theater that still is and will be supported by the CT funds, and we will be able to, if a student from a regional district were to take this, it is a billable CTE course. What is not is the actual theater, the acting, and the stagecraft stuff. That would have to be pulled out and done as a standalone course within our general course of studies. Go ahead.
Yeah, is this federal, is this coming down from the Fed or from the state?
It's tied to the Perkins grant, so that's Fed.
So it's Fed, yeah.
But at the same time, the guidance we're getting is coming from the Department of
state,
Education,
DOE?
the state, yeah.
Okay.
Ms. Hastings.
Do we have any idea about how much of the Perkins grant we will be losing, dollar amount wise?
Ann would be able to answer that better than I would.
Okay.
So unfortunately, I don't have that, but I could get that information for you. I do think there isn't any change, like Ann and I were talking about this, any change that comes out like this that, at first we have a knee-jerk reaction also provides an opportunity, and we may actually, where CRTC meets every day for a larger block of time than a CHS course, kids have to make a decision. Am I doing band? Am I committing to band? Or am I going to take CRTC theater? And if anybody's watched our spring musical, you'll see a lot of our choir, a lot of our performing arts students are very much so part of that drama club. There may be an opportunity for our program to grow in student enrollment because of the fact that now it doesn't force a decision this or that. So. And at the same time, still keep those technical components of the audio, visual, and production still alive in the CT world. So, we're looking at it as it may be an opportunity to actually grow than it is more than that. And our numbers in the program the last couple of years, the sending districts were not strong. There was a large representation, large percentage of the representation, it wasn't in large numbers, were predominantly Concord High School students. So.
Right. When do we think we'll see the alternative courses of study, both at the CTE and what courses will be offered in Concord High School?
CT's in the process. I've seen some of the basic ideas that Ann has. When I say basic, just an outline of what the course would look like. She's still in the process of finalizing that. It would be at the time that the program of studies is coming before the board, because both of them would be listed in that.
Which is February?
Chris?
We usually see the January. Ms. Meeker, put your hand up. I'm sorry.
No,
Oh.
in my head I did though, because I'm sorry, I'm reading and learning all at the same time. I guess my question is, so it sounds like we are losing out on funds, but you're making lemonade out of lemons and looking to expand programmatic access to our high school students because of the transition. But maybe this question that came from President Walsh is related to like what that's going to look like in the coming budget cycle for us.
So we are not adding new staff.
Okay.
If that's the answer you're looking for.
That's my very
It's
big way of
always the
asking.
question
Then
we're gonna
Are we
Yeah.
going to see this in the budget cycle?
And does it actually, is it, maybe Mr. Dunn knows, is our Perkins grant a block grant, or is it based on number of students? Because, are we actually losing funds if we're repurposing what we're doing at the CRTC?
I figure as long as we have another program to replace it, it
Okay.
helps refresh, because now we'll be able to put it in Perkins, and then you have another 3 years to utilize it.
Okay.
So,
There's two things. One, we wouldn't be able to upgrade any equipment pertaining to the current program right now using any Perkins funds. We wouldn't be able to bill any district for a student from a region attending this because it's no longer approved CTE program. We we'd have to come up with a tuition for a general course of studies at Concord High School. So there's two pieces there where we lose some ability to generate revenue out of a course if it's not an approved CTE course. But it doesn't mean it's not in a curriculum that we don't value and we're not going to find another way to offer to the students.
Okay, thank you. Okay. Anything else from your report? Or anything that
Just-
Principal Gallo
just-
would like to add on
Thank you, Chris. And I would just add that you will soon be hearing, we will begin putting together a committee to do the CMS principal search. So just know we'll be looking for board reps for that. And just another plug, I did put out the email. I did see a number of you are available. Just the NEASC visit is next week for Concord High School. They love to talk with board members about what's going on in the school, long-term vision and planning, et cetera. So just a heads up on that, and I'll get you a copy of the draft report.
Thank you. Okay. Mr. Cashman, facilities update.
Sure. So the auditorium ceiling is going extremely well. We're about 3/4 of the way through installing all the drywall. The remaining things that have to happen are the drywall, tape, mud, and we'll paint the ceiling black, obviously. We are looking right now by finishing the entire project and turning it over by the end of December. So I think that's really, really good news because we can give the program back to the students.
That's awesome.
So that's good news. A little bit of an update on the middle school. We had a student services meeting today that was very productive, just looking at several spaces. But some of the things that have taken place and some of the forward-looking things are the cone penetration testing and the geotherm well. Those were complete, and within the next 2 weeks, we should have some sort of a report out on that. We are meeting with police, fire, and Homeland Security to talk over safety, security, and all the related things with building a new school. Architectural Design Review Committee is January 6th, followed by a planning board meeting on January 21st. And then our alteration of terrain permit, that will be submitted on January 15th, and we anticipate 2 months or so for that review to come back to us so that we could start some preliminary construction.
Can you repeat when the planning board is?
Planning board is on January 21st. And we'll give more details of time and, I think, City Hall.
Ms. Hastings?
Mr. Cashman, I just want to commend you. You've had 2 potentially catastrophic issues to deal with this fall. You had the culvert that could have sunk the whole building, and
Don't remind me.
the ceiling that's
following the culvert.
Right. So I just want to commend you on handling both of those with expedience and safety in mind. And thank you, because we're very lucky to have your knowledge and your abilities and to get these things done, not only quickly, but done well. So we appreciate that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hear, hear.
Foresight for our new middle school.
Mr. Richards?
Just a quick question, but first, let me also commend your project management capabilities for the ceiling. Did you find anything that was unexpected or anything that this board should be aware of for future planning?
We added insulation in between the rafters, which wasn't there before, so it was an upgrade for sound attenuation. But outside of that, I didn't find anything different than what was expected.
Thank you.
Which is good.
And we still expect insurance to cover the costs?
We expect that. We haven't heard finally back on the total cost, but I think with a lot of the efficiencies that we've gained by getting the scaffolding up and getting the project complete quickly, I think that will come in under as well. But we're still waiting to hear back from Primex on that final piece.
Thank you.
Okay.
Anything else? Okay. City and Community Relations report focused on Memorial Field.
Yes, it did. We actually, what was wonderful is we had a lot of board members there. It wasn't just the committee. It came right after. executive committee, but Dave Gill came and did a wonderful presentation. There was good public input, and everything was laid out. I think the two key things that need to be shared for tonight, because we'll be taking a vote, is we're voting on splitting the initial cost of 1.2 million, 50-50 between the city and the school district. So yes, the money comes from all of us, but it represents both budgets. And this initial financial investment doesn't commit us to a $30 million price tag and all of the steps that were presented. It starts the process of seeing if what we've come up with is feasible and workable and makes sense for the piece of land. So it's a necessary first step to go anywhere with Memorial Field. So I've had a lot of people concerned that our vote is gonna, red stamp the price tag, and it isn't. It's just this first piece, which will give the committee and the city answers it needs to begin. And then the second piece would be the community recommended to the board that we split the 1.2 million 50-50, so it would be 600,000 from our budget and 600,000 from the city to do this initial. And once that's approved, Mr. Gill can go ahead and get that going, and the plan would be to have that complete, I believe it was by September of 2026. And then we can have who knows what, more things we can't afford, but essentially it was a good meeting. There were lots of good questions brought up, and a lot of you were there. If you have anything you want to add, that's fine. But that's the key piece, so we'll be taking a vote on that. And we vote on all the other stuff.
Richards is the other member?
Yes, I think that Ms. Higgins outlined it fairly well. There are a lot of financial questions that still need to be resolved with regards to splitting this and the MOUs that will follow. But the recommendation of the subcommittee that included both the school district as well as the city was to proceed with this project.
One of the things that I'm concerned about is that the design and the phasing hasn't had an opportunity for public input really to any large degree yet. So I want to make sure that we're not buying the current phase and design, that we're buying additional work and additional opportunities for public input.
Absolutely. We're also buying what all the design research and the testing will tell us. They might come back and say, okay, your layout is stupid. This needs to happen. So no, this doesn't commit to that. There's a lot of questions around that from, I think even us on the committee, it goes back and forth.
Can I ask a
Mr.
question
Richards?
to Mr. Dunn?
Yeah.
If this board were to approve this funding of the design, what effect would that have on this year's budget as well as next year's budget? What would be the overall effect, just so everyone here is aware?
I don't think, and I'll have to talk with the deputy city manager for finance, I don't think it'll affect this year. It's going to be 27 is when they
That
would
budget
do
will
this.
be presented in January, February of next year,
I
correct?
think we're targeting February 11th.
Thank you.
Yes, Wednesday, February 11th.
Thank you for that information.
Where will you be?
I will be watching.
Mr. Richards, this is Mr. Richards' last meeting, yes. Last full meeting. I think we got a couple of committees.
couple
we're gonna get
committees
him in
here.
on. Other questions, comments? So we will take up that vote as 14B after public comment. Finance report.
Okay, I have a couple items. One is starting on page 33, sorry. This is the current snapshot as of 9/41 on 11/24. You'll see some accounts that are in red at the moment. You have some professional services for instruction. This is under student services and the professional services for pupils. And in addition, we also do have some tuition for private and other schools out of district, and we're going through and pulling that information out, be able to give you more of an update. Some of that may be non-public depending on what it is. But you'll see those two lines on page 35. You'll see the negative 371 and then the negative 446. And then on page 36, the negative 186 for out-of-district tuition. Now, remember, whatever a student comes, we encumber for the year. We run it out. If they move, if services change, then it gets unencumbered. So it's very fluid.
But this is the budget that we increased already.
Yes.
And we're another $500,000 projected after increasing it
Yep. 1.9 million.
1.9 million.
Yep.
And that is due to what?
You have move-ins and you have also services.
And our tuition budget is also in the hole. that we're projecting.
Yeah, the district tuition. So right now you'll see it's one, on the encumbrances, there's 1.8 million that's encumbered, but we've actually spent 1.2. So again, that is what we've committed based on what we know to get to the end of the year. If placement changes, that could go down. We could also add. But the special education trust funds will be depleted. You have all of that encumbered. So there's nothing left of that.
And that was with us leaving half of it so that we could have a little cushion, or not half of it.
No, it was 900 and some thousand, because you already pulled $1 million out for this year
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
cover
Right.
the transportation pieces that we fixed. So there is, if you go up a couple lines on page 36, there's 704,000 available at the moment. You can see that there's 446,000 encumbered, and we've spent 330,000 in the first 5 months of the year. So not as bad as last year when it was 1.8 million over. So that has some.
That's because we put 1.9 million back in.
Well, we've brought a lot of students back, by trying to transport ourselves and move into the non-CDL model. So, yeah, but we'll keep an eye on it.
Yeah, I'm sure that it's often that the public hears like large numbers and shortcomings, and the conversation within our community tends to be, well, how did we miss that? But I think it's really important that the public understand that these are legally obligated resources that children deserve to have, and this dollar amount is entirely out of our control. We just need to adapt and be nimble. So I just wanted to put that out there, because even with our recent budget and a couple of shortfalls there, we're not the only district dealing with this, but the community conversation is, well, if I was sitting there, that wouldn't have happened. And I have had to say, actually it would, and it did happen while you were sitting there. So just adding that into the conversation to give people some peace of mind.
And that transportation is McKinney-Vento.
Yeah.
We had more move-ins in the last week or two, if I could say that. I think it's 10. So,
We have 10 McKinney-Vento move-ins?
Yep.
Yeah,
Yeah,
sorry.
yeah, no, that's just
But
the
still,
number, but,
yeah.
yeah. So,
Yeah, it's legally obligated.
it's a federal law.
Resource. It's
Yep.
federal law. We're not gonna not do it.
Okay.
School care assessment?
So moving down to the school care assessment on page 43, we worked with Londonderry and School Care, as I mentioned last month, to create a payment plan so you wouldn't have to pay everything by December 31st and then start accruing interest. So this is a copy of that agreement I handed out last month, but this is that same agreement, and I put on page 46, I offered 2 plans with an option if you wanted to do something else. The only thing you're required to do is pay a third of what you owe, which that third by December 31st, which that amount is $665, $357.58, and everything has to be paid off by July 15th. So in the 2 options that I put on page 46, I put 3 equal payments, except for the penny. That gives you the flexibility at the end of the year to either budget that last payment in next year, or if we have year-end money, this year. And then the option 2 the million that you had coming out of the reserve, just take it, pay that now, and then break the two payments up over partial this year and potentially either year end or before July 15th.
And what is your thought between the two options? Like, why wouldn't we hold on to our money longer and do 3 equal payments?
It was more just trying to be done with it because it's an obligation that you have.
Yeah.
And yeah, I could pay the third now and just pay June 30th if we have it, or split it between the two. That's why I left that third one optional.
Are we earning interest on the money with us right now? And if so, about how much is it?
Yeah, we're earning about 2.4% a month.
Okay. And the payment plan, what's the interest towards?
There'll be no interest as long as we pay the third.
Okay.
And then we have no interest because they're working on getting a loan from a bank to cover the difference in order to make the claims.
Okay. So 2.5% on
Yeah.
this amount could be helpful.
Could be a little something, yeah. So I can change that and make it to where that final piece is at the end.
Okay. No, these are two great options.
Okay.
Thanks, Jack.
Any other questions, discussions? If not, we need to vote on this evening, Mr. Dunn.
Please, yeah, because we got to do it by December 31st. So I've handed you a motion, I can put it on the screen for later, but I prepared that because they want to also make sure that they have a signature, and being on the board of directors now, I'm not going to be a signator. I put either your board president or the superintendent to sign it, and they have that in the agreement that they want to have minutes that this was publicly vetted and you voted, okay? And then finally, the third item is the introduction of the loan resolution. Okay, that's on page 41, so this is from bond counsel. And this is the loan resolution that they have proposed for you to have a public hearing on. So all this is introducing it at your regular meeting. You need to set a date that's no less than 15 days and no more than 60 from the introduction of this loan resolution. So getting it in the paper and posted, I figured December 18th would be your earliest. That gives you a little, I think it's a Thursday. Because I gotta get it in the paper by 10 a.m. tomorrow if you agree, and they've given me the public notice and put it around. Or you can go later than that.
So is there any urgency to get it done by December 18th?
No.
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 So if
You got a lot of other decisions that are gonna need to be made.
What?
You got a lot of other decisions that are gonna need to be made related to all this, but,
So
yeah.
I wonder if we looked at like the February board meeting as would that work? We'll have 2 new members, I'd like to give them.
Yeah, I think we're gonna need to go earlier than that, because we're gonna start expending funds and we need to reimburse ourselves, so I'm hoping to have everything wrapped up by February. Because all this does is opening up the line. This is the authorization. Once you vote for the authorization, then we gotta go into the financial plans and the bonds. So this does not, kinda like what Barb was saying earlier, we do 1 point, this doesn't mean we're committing to a 30, this is just opening up the authorization. Now we have to start all the.
January board meeting with that
That's fine, yeah,
baptism of fire.
that's right.
Does that?
Welcome to the jungle. So, yeah.
I'm sure they'll have an opportunity to meet and speak with you, Mr. Dunn, prior to that meeting.
Oh, yeah. But we could set the date, if you want, when you vote tonight, set the date for the next board meeting, that'd be fine, yeah.
Okay, so we need to vote to set a date.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
All right. So that will be 14D.
Let's see if that's all I have. Oh, and then finally on page 47. We have the minutes from your March 26th meeting. If you go to page 50, you will see that the second banner of the green, the second screenshot, it says proposed 2/12/25, 111,574,863. Then you see adjustment 3/24/25 of 111,724,863. When you ultimately passed your budget, The amount was 111 back in March, 487, 137. Okay? DRA couldn't figure out how to get there. We couldn't understand it because we're looking at the minutes. If you go down to page 55, we've revised the minutes. When that screenshot got captured in your minutes, it cut that last line off. So if you go to page 55 and you take a look at right above BOE budget session number 9 on the bottom, that got cut off. So the other thing they asked was wording. So right below that, you'll see Mr. Dunn explained the proposed budget on 212. So they couldn't tie out. So we corrected it, brought in Patrick, explained it, your clerk. We uploaded the minutes. Tax rate got set, as you all know. But I wanted to bring them back to you to formally vote on them because that's where the error was.
Was this not in our original minutes? Or-
It was cut off.
Oh, it was cut
So
off
the,
in our minutes.
I gave you on page 50 is the original minutes, and I wanted to show you, here are the revised. And we've
great.
uploaded them. That's the only piece.
Yes, would
Yep.
anyone like to move to approve the revised minutes?
So moved. Oh, sorry, Karen.
Of March 26, 2025. Moved by Ms. Robinson.
Second.
Seconded by Mr. Richards. Yep. You caught up, Ms. Meeker? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion passes.
Thank you for that correction, Joe.
Yep, and could I add one other thing? So, as you've approved the overall project for the middle school, we may be moving forward with purchasing solar panels this month. So, as part of your project and in the minutes that I handed out, if you need them, the 168 had all these rebates. Part of that was the tax credits that we get directly from the federal government as it relates to the solar panels. There are two important dates as it relates to those because that's being phased out. One is December 31st, and the other is within a couple days, July 1st of 2026. And what is being requested is that we purchase a safe harbor amount of 10% of the panels that we need now, and we take ownership of them because that will grandfather us for the tax credit. After July 1st, what happens is the restrictions are going to get tighter and the supply is going to get more limited. And we may not be able to meet the obligation of the tax credit, which means you may not be able to get it. So tomorrow I have a conference call at 3 o'clock, I believe it is, 3 or 4, with the architects, the company that our consultant that we've hire to do it, our energy procurement, as well as a company called Energy Tax Savers, as we've solicited from our bond counsel, our auditors, who knows this law the best. We have come down to this group that understands it for a fixed fee, and they do all the filings for us. So we have everybody on a conference call tomorrow to determine all the right processes. But I'm just letting you know because I may be pulling the trigger to get our requirement. They're recommending 10%, the minimum is 5%, but as they design this, if it comes down and then we fall below, you can't go back and fix it.
Right.
So we're working through that. This is more just information about what it is and how we're trying to get there. Because
And
these
this was
processes.
something that was discussed during the building committee and
Correct.
in the
Yep.
presentations of the
Yep.
plan and the budget, that we would have to do this.
Yep.
In order to make the tax credit deadline.
The geothermal is a whole separate, and these energy tax saver group that we're working with would be 2 separate filings. But in the big beautiful bill, that is in there, the geothermal. But the solar is not. So,
Just a curiosity, where are we going to store them?
there's 2 pieces we're looking at. One is they will store it for you, which I'm trying to get the detailed cost if they store it.
Yeah.
The other part we are looking at is my good buddy here. We're looking to store them in the basement of Runlet because they are palletized, and we have about 1,160 square feet. So if I can get out of the storage charge, because they ain't going to go on the roofs until 2027, we're going to try to put them in the basement of Runlet.
Mr. Richards said he may have some space in his yard too.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, well, I was gonna say, we could all split them up.
You can hide them in the ceiling of CHS.
Until it starts
As
to
we fall
fall.
in the dark.
So
That's
we're-
the insulation.
We're looking at a couple different options, but that is one of them.
Your options are probably better, yeah.
Okay?
Okay.
Mr. Dunn, are you doing the negotiations update or Mr.?
I can do that. So we met with CEA on the the 19th. We had to cancel on the 12th because we had a last-minute meeting with the Department of Ed that we had the opportunity to get in, and we got in. But that's it for negotiations, and we're waiting on the tutors. So.
Communications and policy.
If everybody could turn to page 58.
Of course. Look at all the second reading.
All this stuff. So tonight the Communications and Policy Committee brings to you on second reading Policy 415 regarding Title IX sexual harassment reporting grievance process. I will begin by making a motion that we approve Policy 415 as amended.
Ms. Meeker moves policy 415 as amended. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Ms. Robinson. It is open for discussion and further amendment. Ms. Meeker.
So to just give you a reminder, this is hopefully the last time we'll be seeing this for a little while. The Title IX changes have come up a couple of different times because the rules at the federal level have gone back and forth. You can see the changes that are highlighted in strike type and red. When we moved this on first reading, well, we didn't move it. When I brought it to you on first reading, there were some highlighted portions of the document. Those were merely for internal citations that we just needed to complete. So a citation to, Rome 9 within the section, et cetera, those have since been filled in, and those highlights have been removed. If for any reason you want to see those technical edits, I do have a version, but I did not include it in the board book. And so you will see, starting on page 84, the final clean version of the policy, which has been vetted by the district, and from my perspective is good to go.
Excellent.
Discussion, questions?
This was such a big piece of work.
It was a beast.
Yeah.
Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Sorry.
But we did it.
Yes, we can revisit if it comes back.
Oh, yeah.
In public comment. Any opposed?
No.
Any abstentions? All right. Well, we need to revisit it.
Wait, did you say no as in your voting?
No, I
Okay.
was.
Oh,
There
okay.
are no.
There were no no's.
No no's.
Any
Okay.
no's? No.
All right, that's
See
how I took
public
it.
comment.
Yeah.
All right. Instructional committee.
Oh, she wasn't there, but I'm happy to report
Oh,
out.
actually, I think that is this the report out, or is this the,
This is English language arts
Yes.
standards.
this is, yeah, I'll present on this and then you can, yeah.
Great, yeah.
Because the reason being, Sarah, is we need the full board vote for the ELA standards.
That's right.
So I'm gonna call up some members of the ELA committee to come on up and share with me.
It's very big. It's really good. It's a good
back.
curriculum. It's an alignment. Yeah, it's good stuff.
We could just introduce ourselves briefly.
Sure, good evening. Jay Rashad, the middle school principal.
Thank you. Good evening. Michelle Vance, principal at Beaver Middle School.
Kylene Chalaskis, one of the assistant principals at the high school.
All right.
And Kimberly Arlott, assistant superintendent for curriculum instruction and assessment. So the reason we want to share this is when we do what we call curriculum alignment, which means that we look at all the standards, K, kindergarten through 12th grade, the Common Core standards, we take about a year. We put together a robust committee, and it takes about a year for us to complete the alignment. We've completed the alignment, presenting it to you tonight for adoption, which becomes our curriculum, our guaranteed curriculum. And then following that, we typically will do a program selection. So we did this in cyclical terms. We did the social studies, we did the math. This last year, starting in October, we started with the ELA. That took a little bit longer than we anticipated. And then next we'll do science. So following this will be a program adoption for English Language Arts K through 6. Kylene helped co-chair this particular committee, which started October 2024. You saw the list of educators. It included reading specialists, English language arts teachers at the high school level, at the middle school level. We had principals, as you can see, everyone here. And we had special ed persons, really very, very robust committee. I have to say that this was a very, very large task. The ELA Common Core standards they're vast. There are many, many of them. So what we typically do is we start with, just skip for a second. We start by looking at what we call power standards, and those are specific standards that are strands that go through the curriculum K through 12. We pick out the essential standards, the ones that we're going to guarantee as a committee, and then we look at the essential standards, which are kind of the substandards. And in your packet, I'm not sure what page it's on, you'll see that all of the power standards are in green, which makes it for easy reading. And underneath that, you'll see like enumeration, like you'll see the substandards. And those are the ones that we're going to guarantee and also assess for students. So when you're looking through the document, watch for the green power standards, and then watch for the black essential standards underneath them.
Just a quick comment about why this is so important and why we spent a year plus on this is it's really about a better experience for the kids in the Concord School District K through 12. The biggest issues are when there are gaps in what kids learn and when there are massive overlaps in what kids learn. And those are the two areas that we spent the most time on over a year, because as you can imagine, there are some things that got overlapped year after year after year, which meant there were other things that were never being covered. And so then when we look at our testing data, and you get to see that every spring and how we do in the elementary schools and how we do at the high school, and then you wonder why there are these holes in places and yet they seem to be crushing it in other places. And a lot of that has to do with this lack of vertical alignment and understanding for kids and what is happening year to year. The other benefit for kids is they know what to expect, and they know what they've been taught, and they know where they're going. And so this really has to do with it being a better experience for them. And it's about having the same standards for all kids, truthfully. That's the other really big important part, is that we want to make sure that kids have the same experience no matter which school they're in, no matter which teacher they have, and we have that same high standard for all of them. And for us on the teacher side, it's really important that now we start having conversations about what this looks like, K through 12. There is a level of communication that now has to happen across the district to ensure that we adhere to this, and we understand it, and we look through it, and we're having those conversations.
So I wanted to sort of unpack this document for you a little bit, because it is very, very big. It's embedded in your board book, and we will have it be a publishable document once it's approved. Everything is color-coded, so when you look at even just page 114 at the top, you'll see the foundational skills for kindergarten. Throughout the document, anything that's a foundational skill is also in purple, so it will just help you unpack it a little bit. And just as an example, to just show the public what's in this document without providing the entire thing or going through the entire document, is foundational skills are K through 5. They're taught only in kindergarten through 5th grade. You can see the difference, what I've highlighted here, is that in kindergarten, in the green, again, the green is going to be the competency. You're going to demonstrate understanding of organization and basic features of print. So what we're going to assess in kindergarten are the B and the D, which are the standards that we picked out, the committee picked out and agreed upon were the most important. Now, understand, there is an A, B, C, D, there could even be an E, but we picked the standards that we felt were the most important to guarantee in our curriculum and to guarantee that when we assess the students. So likewise, in 5th grade, in the purple, you'll see the foundational skills, grade 5, and that's going to be around phonics and word recognition, and you can see that the big competency is know and apply grade level phonics and word analysis skills and decoding words. And again, the committee selected the A, the substandard or the standard, to be the one that we're going to guarantee and assess. across all schools.
Yeah, first I wanted to say kudos to Kim and Kylene for facilitating and leading the group. If you've never had the opportunity to participate in the ELA curriculum revision, it's challenging, a lot of work, and they did a great job with that. Here's an example of, the key with, our students making connections, K-12, where you can see the power standards and see how they're very similar. That's in grade 2, and then in grade 8, it's very similar. So the ideal opportunity for our students is when we do vertical alignment, they can make connections from, again, grade 2 to grade 8. So those are the power standards in green, and then, then there are different standards at different grade levels, as you can see that in grade 8. Same thing here. Again, the opportunity when you do vertical alignment, you want to make sure our students are making connections at different grade levels. Here you see the power standard in kindergarten, and then you see the similarity in terms of grade 6 and 7. Again, the goal is to make connections that the kids say, oh, I remember doing some of that.
And despite the fact that we're just showing you kindergarten or highlighting kindergarten and 6th and 7th, speaking, listening, and viewing happens kindergarten through 12.
Mm-hmm.
But we're just trying to unpack the document a bit for you.
So in the Common Core, there are 3 different types of writing. There's narrative, there's informative, and there's argumentative. And so this is an example of how argumentative writing gains complexity from grade 3. And there are 11-12 standards as well. At the high school level, they're banded together. There's a grade 9-10 band, and then there's a grade 11-12 band. But what you notice is grade 3 starts by writing opinion pieces on topics, or writing informative explanatory text to examine a topic, or you write narratives that have real or imagined characters in them. And then in grades 9 and 10, now you see some of that more technical language, especially in writing arguments, where you have the precise claim, you have the counterclaim, you have reasons, you have evidence, you're citing evidence. That's that progression all the way up until grades 9 and 10. And so and what you will see in the full document is every single year builds on itself in those kinds of types of writing.
On this slide here, you'll see the same thing, a progression. What you're seeing is a progression with key ideas and details in both reading literature and informational literature. And you'll see the progression from 4th to 8th grade here.
So the process that will happen next is we'll adopt by vote the publish and adopt the K through 12 vertical alignment. We'll upload the aligned documents in the high school, which is important for the NEASC presentation, which we'll be presenting this curriculum, if approved, at the NEASC next week. And we will also adopt a K through 6 English Language Arts program to be purchased and implemented in the fall of 2026. And that's per an RSA that we have to have a science, by 2027, we need to have a program that's founded in the science of reading. That's research-based program. We can get that done as early as the fall of 2026, which the committee would prefer, because what's good right now for all students is good for all students, and it was really important change and shift in our instructional practices and in the curriculum materials that we're using. So our goal is to adopt in the 2026 a 6-year program. Our plan is to pilot 2 programs this winter and then select from there. And so that's it. Does anybody from the instructional committee, did get to see this at the last meeting? Does anyone have any comments?
I'm so sorry I missed this meeting, because this is the stuff I love to get in the weeds in.
I know, this is the good
I
stuff.
love this stuff.
Yeah, it was a good meeting.
Yeah, so I'm very sorry, but will we be getting some updates on those, and can we hear more about instructional committee meetings coming forward, what the programs are, how it's going? Love those kind of updates, and yeah, very excited for this. This is what we've needed for a long time, so I'm very happy to see it coming to us. Thank you for all that hard work. I know that was a lot of work. So, thank you.
Ms. Boucher?
I just had a question about the piloting. Is it piloted at every grade level? Will it be people, educators volunteer to pilot?
So what we did was we started with about 12 different programs. We narrowed them down to follow the research practices, made sure that we referenced ed reports for the criteria that we needed, that had to pass certain criteria through ed reports, which is kind of an expert research group. We got it down to 6 programs. Please feel free to add anything, because Jay attends those committees too.
Yeah, just again, you said it, Brenda. I mean, it's a lot of time and energy and hard work on everyone involved. So it was very impressive. But yeah, so staff were very thoughtful to narrow down the choices. And when you're talking about programs, it's not easy because people kind of feel comfortable with what they've done for a time period. And so I mean, again, it was super impressive and collaborative how well the staff did and to narrow it down.
So we went from 6, we had 6 presentations, each an hour long. We have a closet full of materials that we panned through. And I was surprised at our last meeting that it was unanimous on the top 2 programs, which are very, very good programs, well-researched, very, very good programs. Either one would be absolutely wonderful. But in terms of the pilot, we're going to do grade 1, 3, 5, and 6. The materials are very, very expensive for a company to send to you and to loan out so we have to be mindful of what the company is putting out to us, knowing that we might not purchase theirs. So that's sort of a compromise. It's 10 teachers at first grade across the district, and then it goes down to 8, and then a few at Runlet. We will keep you informed about the process, and in terms of selection of teachers, I'm going to work with the principals on that.
Okay. I would imagine that it's challenging for a teacher to implement a pilot in the middle of a year while they're trying to get everything done that they're supposed to be getting done.
So
and
the
then
nice thing
start a
is
new
both of
program.
these companies have what's called a mid-year pilot. So they actually created the pilot so that you would be doing like where you would anticipate mid-first grade would be. And then they work with you with professional development to decide on the exact landing spot. And even if we don't pick their program, all of the teachers can finish the pilot through the rest of the year, so they're not disrupting the students' learning. So even though it's a 3-month pilot, they're leaving the materials with us so that the students will have a good chunk, half a year, of a really good, solid reading program.
Okay. Thank you.
Hastings?
Will all of the elementary schools be represented in the piloting?
Yes.
Great, thank you.
So my question, and you may not have the answer to this, but not counting, the independent reading that we expect students to do, how many books, actual books, do we expect our kids to read over the course of the school year? Because there's a lot of talk among colleges that kids can't read a novel or read a nonfiction book because they haven't had that discipline. And then my follow-up question is, do we have enough actual books? Because I'm not sure that kids reading PDFs on their Chromebooks is, I think it's a horrible practice. And for kids to learn to focus on a task. So I'm a little concerned about that too. I'd be interested in their thoughts. So do you know how many books we'll expect our kids to read over the course of their time with us?
Well, typically is number of minutes per night, 20 to 30 minutes. But
No. I'm not talking about go read a book at home.
During the day.
I'm talking about, no, I'm not even talking about during the day. I'm talking you are assigned this book for your class. You have a responsibility to finish this book and do a report or do a new take or an assignment on this book that the whole class is reading, or 2 or 3 books that you can choose from that the whole class is reading, not go home and read. I'm talking about like you're going to have some accountability on this.
I can speak for the high school.
Yes.
And I will share that the Common Core doesn't outline how many books.
Yep.
The way the Common Core words it is you have to be reading at a certain level of text complexity, and then it lists the books that would be at that text complexity. So the Common Core doesn't identify number, but it says that at 10th grade you should be able to read Of Mice and Men and The Great Gatsby, as an example. In 11th grade you should be able to read The Grapes of Wrath and something else. So it doesn't identify that. I would say what I've seen in our English department at the high school is they're probably on average doing one full classroom text. Because remember, don't forget, in Common Core, we have speaking and listening, we have writing, we have viewing. So it's not just reading that we have to cover in a school year as well. So if you break up the year into 4 quarters and then you think about all of those other standards you have to cover, I would say though, as a class, once a semester, you might all read the same book, all read The Great Gatsby. There might also be within a semester book choices. So a teacher might have 4 different texts and you pick one of them to read it. And then another quarter you would read a book independently. So they really vary the way in which you read the book, as far as whether it's an entire class assignment and everybody's writing the report on The Great Gatsby versus the book groups versus individual. Would you guys agree with that? Okay. What's that? Okay. And you're 10th grade, right? 11th grade. You're 11th grade, yeah. Yep. What would you say, Erin? Yeah, and it depends on your class, too.
Yeah, and I'm looking more of like the standard, like I don't remember there actually being a book assigned in elementary school. There were teacher read alouds or anything like that, but I don't remember my child ever
And I don't know what it is
having
at the
one
middle
book
school.
that the whole class was accountable for.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah.
and I worry we don't have a lot of accountability for students in our educational system right now, and that we need to work on building those executive functioning skills.
Well, I can tell you, like in 6th grade, right? The kids have, I think it's at least 2, maybe 3 opportunities to do a read where the kids, just like you described, Colleen, are given an opportunity to pick 1 of 3 books, and they do that through the class. They present, they do projects around that. If you didn't know, the middle school principal has a school-wide expectation that all students need to have an independent reading book at all times. And I've been super impressed with our students in terms of they follow my directions for the most part with that. Internet was down today, so I saw a lot of good reading. Kids, busy in the library. I think Regina Wall, our librarian, checked out over 1,000 books in the month of November. So our kids are reading. I'm proud of that. But the teachers do, I think it's a couple books a year that they try to do like common reads or give kids choice at the middle school, grades 6 through 8.
I know my experience is a little dated at this point, but Principal Vance can probably help with that too. I know in elementary, you don't maybe have a whole class reading the same book because you have such varying reading levels. So you would have your guided reading groups reading books, and
All books.
it's your group would be responsible for a book, but it would not be necessarily the whole class. Is it the same way still?
It is. So depending on children's reading levels, the books that they're reading are appropriate for their skills at that particular time. Classroom teachers are also always doing a read aloud, so children are being exposed to one chapter book that the teacher is reading with intention. Then we also have the interactive read alouds that they're doing that align with our current program. So it is very extremely literature-based, but I can again speak to the children at Beaver Meadow School. One of their favorite times during the week is when they get to go into book choice. And so I see kids constantly with books in their hands. Those Dogmen series, Wings of Fire, I mean, I can go on and on. I have my own reading group. I have a 2nd grade reading group. We're reading a chapter book. I mean, so I think that we're literature rich in Concord I can only speak to the elementary level because I don't go higher than 5th grade. So that's all I did.
Yes. Do we give our high school students a summer reading list to be done during the
So
summer?
years ago, and I'm dating myself, years ago, one of our former librarians actually put together a suggested summer reading list. We've put that out. We've never done a school-wide must demonstrate that you read it when you get back.
Yeah.
So we've made recommendations, in years past in June and suggested that they read. There are some classes, individual classes, that have summer reading. So, for example, Erin in her AP Literature had to read, is a prayer for Owen Meany? You had to read a prayer for Owen Meany, so good, over the summer. And when they get back, the first 2 weeks of school, or the first week, You have right. There's an expectation. And truthfully, there are other courses that have some summer reading assignments as well. Even if it's in the other building in more of the math and sciences, often there might be a summer reading that has to be done. Aaron's nodding. That goes along with that. School wide, no, we have not tackled that.
Thank you.
At the elementary level, though, we do reading incentives. So even like during the holiday break, they'll go home, and we'll have snowflakes, and for every 20 minutes, they read in their own book at home. They color it in, and then the the class with maybe the most snowflakes that get colored in, they have, an ice cream party or a popcorn party or something like that. So there's incentives like that all summer long that happens. We have a summer reading program that we do stuff like that.
And that's in collaboration with their parents or guardians?
Yes.
Good.
I'm sorry. I did want to mention too that both of the programs that we're looking at, they're really quite brilliant companies. They have embedded either or both the next generation science standards topics at grade levels and or the social studies topics, so that those topics can be integrated into a reading block. We always talk about not enough time. They're also both comprehensive, K through 6, and they will include phonemic awareness, early phonics, vocabulary, writing is embedded in the programs, which is brilliant, and then the skills, vocabulary, and knowledge building. So what we're looking at is it allows for teacher autonomy, but also they're both very structured, and they have book studies in them.
And I don't want to suggest that there was reading in the elementary school. I know there was group reading. I'm talking more about like this is the book the class is reading that you should take home and continue to read on your own. And obviously that's not a kindergarten first grade, but like it feels like by 4th or 5th we should be. I think you see a transition to the middle school where there are far greater expectations for students in terms of homework or being able to complete tasks that I don't know that they're completely prepared for coming out of the elementary school, where it's finish as much as you can, and and we're going to look at what you've accomplished, and versus get everything done. I think there's a sort of gap in that sort of project management, preparation for that transition from elementary to middle school, that we, that literature is part of it, that expectation that they'll finish the book at home if they don't finish it in class and things like that I don't think they have come to do most of the time in elementary schools, or at least my experience.
That's helpful feedback. One of the non-negotiables was that we looked at programs that were K through 6 because we wanted to help with that transition from 5th to 6th and follow those same good habits that the students will hopefully learn through a more structured program, but I appreciate the feedback.
We'll add that as 14E.
14E.
Another vote.
Yes. Okay. And then we have the 306s.
Okay, we're going to transition our team a little bit here, and we have a presentation for you about the 306s, which also will require a vote.
Yeah. 145. You got it, dude.
You guys want to introduce yourselves?
Graham Crowther, Assistant Principal, Concord High School.
Chris Gallo, the principal.
Jim Corkum, Assistant Principal, Concord High School.
Eileen. And if I could just ask you to speak up a little bit, there's vents that can't always hear you.
Sure thing. So we're here to present to you the 306s. And these are the minimum standards that come out of the New Hampshire Department of Education. It's a set of administrative rules that say what is required for all K through 12 public schools in New Hampshire. So the last revision was in 2014, a new version was adopted in 2024, and our first graduating class that will be impacted will be the class of 2030. So it's important for you to understand what the 306s are requiring or not requiring, what shifts are going to happen at the high school level primarily. There's some nuances, for example, needing to have the science of reading curriculum by 2027 at the elementary level, but most of the impact is at the high school. So we wanted the high school team here to talk to you about those impacts. This is hard to read, so I'm just going to pass it around. If you could just pass it to the board members, that would be great. Who was doing this? I think Chris. Yeah, that Chris, you read this one? Mm-hmm. This is in your board packet, but we just wanted to give you a fresh, clean,
Thank you.
single copy of this, because I think it's the most, it's the best
biggest shift.
explanation, yeah.
So you're looking at some actual changes that our plan includes. So if you look at the middle column, that's currently what exists in terms of what our students are expected to attain for credits in order to graduate. The third column shows you, with the changes in the 306s, the new credits that students need to attain in order to graduate. So I won't walk you through everything, but I do want to point out just how to read this. If you look at, for instance, U.S. history and New Hampshire history, which is about 6 or 7 lines down, currently that is one credit course. But if you look one line down, you'll see that U.S. history is now half a credit for, and I should point out for the new changes, we're talking about the current 8th graders when they graduate. So, yeah, not you.
Aaron,
not,
we didn't change this on you.
Not all of them.
Surprise, Aaron.
You're not graduating.
She's sweating over there.
I thought I heard a gasp. I should have looked up.
Yeah.
So, U.S. and New Hampshire history has been one credit for both. And now, for the current 8th graders, you can see that U.S. history will be a half credit. New Hampshire history is a half credit. So we're required to pull those apart. I'll give you some time to just look through that, but that's how to read this chart. And there's the rest of the chart on the back side as well.
So is there a second U.S. history requirement then? Looking
No.
at this chart?
No.
You'll find more, though, under history.
Government, and Constitution, that's a second.
So, yes,
There's
you'll
a
find it
lot
under
of
history, government,
social
and Constitution.
studies.
Yeah, a lot of social studies. You'll see that another example of being pulled apart, economics, including personal finance, which has been historically a half credit. If you look right below that, economics becomes a half credit itself, and financial literacy becomes its own separate half credit.
And English is going down from 4 to 3.5?
It's no longer needed.
Remember that these are the state minimum standards.
Okay.
Concord High School has always been above, and that's where we're going to take you next. This
Okay,
is what the state legislation has mandated that we must cover minimally. So they're the minimum standards, that's what they're called. We're going to share, but we wanted you to see this first so that you're aware of what we're dealing with when we then show you what we're going to do at Concord High.
Thank God.
Yes.
So can I ask a question? Just picking one here, health education for half a credit
Right.
becomes health and wellness education for half a credit. Does the course change at all, or just the title of that change? I mean, is there a definition of what is health and wellness that is different than what health used to be?
The competencies will describe exactly what the curriculum has to cover.
Okay.
That's right. And that's the work that the
So that's
curriculum
the
facilitator's
deeper thing
been
below
working on.
this.
Yeah. Like logic and rhetoric. What does that mean? I can tell you what that means.
Can you tell us what that means?
Sure. Logic is the study of reasoning and the structure of arguments to ensure that they're valid, and rhetoric is the persuasion or the motivation skills or strategies behind it.
Right on.
And you would have seen those in the ELA
That's what I
vertical document. You would find those standards.
Tying it in. Just tying it in. I love it.
So So the next slide that we have up here is one that we had presented to the instructional committee about a month ago. And I believe this comes from a toolkit created by the Lakes Region cohort of school administrators and some work that Kim was involved in with that cohort group of educational leaders, really taking a look and diving into what the 306s were, what they're going to mean for the different districts, and particularly at the high school level, where these seem to really focus. So some of the big takeaways from looking at the 306s and how we plan to address them here at Concord High School is, first thing is really about competency-based education. And luckily, that's something that Concord School District has been at the forefront of for almost 20 years now. You go to a lot of professional development sessions, or we have some administrative listening groups that are done online, and you listen to what some of those other schools are, and some of them are just starting to scratch the surface of competencies. And it's something at Concord High that we've been doing and really refining over and over again for the last 20 years. As we were just talking about, the graduation requirements are going to change in terms of exactly what are the credits need to be attached to the courses and what those competencies students need to show mastery of. As Colleen was saying, there still is that local control that districts have, even though that these are the minimum standards that the Department of Education is kind of handing down to all public schools. Concord High, we still have the levity to say, well, these are still our standards of what students need to meet, while also maintaining that we are meeting what the DOE says students have to demonstrate. Parental engagement. This is also something that we've been doing a lot of work on over the last year. A big piece that's been going on within our curriculum work at Concord High School is making sure that all of our teachers, all of our courses are writing their curriculum maps in a common format, which I believe is done at this point. I think all of our courses every course at Concord High has their curriculum written in a standard format. And sort of the phase 2 of that plan is to be able to publish that out to families and to the community so they can see exactly what are the competencies, what are the essential questions, how are kids going to be being assessed, and making sure that we're being very transparent with that. And not that it's fixed. You know, curriculum maps are living, breathing documents that you're always going back and refining and correcting over time. But that parental engagement piece of being able to show exactly what it is that students will be demonstrating mastery of over their 4 years. Innovation and learning, and again, I may be very biased, but I think this is something we do really well at Concord High, and offering students choice and multiple pathways to demonstrate their learning and show their knowledge. And then going down to with how this impacts kind of CTE centers and CTE directors, where we have students from sending districts coming to our schools. How can they make sure that they're demonstrating some of these minimum standards from the DOE, maybe while not at their home base high school, but while they're engaged in our CTE programs, because that takes up a good amount of their schedule. When we have students from Kearsarge who are traveling 45 minutes to do a double block class and travel back, being able to be sure that they have opportunities to be sure that they're meeting these standards as well.
So the big impacts at the high school, you look at the picture on the left and you see the traditional pathway of the 9th, 10th, 11th graduation. That's not how Concord High School or Concord School District has operated for well over a decade now. We've really embraced the competency-based pathway. So this 306 impact was more about how do we make it fit what we already have living at Concord High School, not how do we redesign everything we have at Concord High School. So part of that was looking at opportunities to learn in and outside of the classroom by demonstrating competency. So you may be exposed to math in a science class. You may hit a literacy standard while reading a textbook in automotive. You could have things happening in economics that are cross-referenced over in your math department. And all of those are the competencies students are learning that don't necessarily need a new individual course created to meet the new minimum standards for the 306s. We have an extensive ELO program that has expanded drastically just over the last year. More students are taking advantage of community-based partnerships and earning credit through different learning styles outside of the building. And one of the things to come out of this is to create a comprehensive and developmentally appropriate counseling program, K through 12. So that's something else we're working on, looking at as you just heard about the ELA K through 12. That'll be the next big focus, will be the counseling, curriculum and counseling program.
So I want to share just a little bit about the values, and people have already mentioned this, but student choice and electives are really important to us at Concord High School. And so when we started talking about this with our curriculum facilitators and other teachers back in July. So I want you to know that too. We brought this to summer meetings in July, and our facilitator team that meets once a week for 90 minutes, we have been talking about this incessantly since July. So what we're trying to condense for you in 20 minutes, we've literally talked about for 100 hours. I'm not even underestimating. But one thing that's come through is student choice and electives. So however we were going to do this, we needed to keep that in the forefront. We wanted the flexible pathways. Graham has mentioned that, and Jim has mentioned that. We also value engaging, rigorous classroom experiences for students with teachers. I bring that up because all of our data tells us that when students take rich, robust courses at Concord High School with teachers, they do well. And what I mean by that is we don't want to start, and I'll share this when I get into how we did it, we didn't want to just start throwing credits all over the place in order to meet things. We value this time that kids are with students in classes, and that was really important to us. We also value that they're collaborators, they're communicators, they're creative, and they're self-directed. So we want to keep that at the forefront of it too.
And just to make another tie, you heard about collaboration, communication, creativity, and self-directed from our Broken Ground team this morning, because those are the virtues of our Portrait of a Learner.
So Kylene talked a little bit about the process, but there were numerous workshops that were offered and several administrators and teachers attended starting back in the spring. And then in July, Kylene talked about meeting with the curriculum facilitators. And then when I came in, I jumped into the September-October part of the timeline and just had my mind blown by how well the curriculum facilitators had taken all of this information, synthesized it, and figured out the best ways to integrate it into what has already existed for a very long time at Concord High in terms of competency-based learning. So Graham took me to a workshop to get me caught up on the 306s. And then we hit November, where we presented a snippet to you, to the instructional committee, I should say, about what this could possibly look like. And that brings us to presenting tonight to the full board.
And the process doesn't end there. Part of the 306 is that ongoing communication, keeping the community involved, keeping the school board involved. So there'll be presentations throughout the year. One of the requirements is that annually the director of student wellness or whomever that we're presenting the counseling program as well.
All right, so I'm going to do my best to explain what's on the next two slides for you. Jim just gave me the louder mic. Wow. Thanks, Jim. So in this slide that you're looking at here, you see what is currently in existence in our program of studies that outlines the requirements. I want to draw your attention to the far right column, which says the class of 2028 and beyond. The school board approved an increase in credits. I believe it was 2 years ago under Mike Reardon, right, or 3 years ago now maybe. I think Mike Reardon was still at the helm when we actually increased. If you remember, we used to only match the minimum and have a 20 credit. And the school board endorsed and supported us increasing to 24 so that we were above the minimum and we were requiring more than the state minimum. So in the class of 2028 and beyond, you see that there was a 0.5 arts education, 4 credits in English, 4 credits in math, 4 credits in science, 3 credits in social studies, 2 in health and PE, and 6.5 in electives, okay? I'm not ignoring class of 2027, but I'm going to tell you up front that in our new proposal, which we'll get to on the next slide in a second, we are not touching the class of 2027 because that would be difficult for us to do given that they graduate next year. Clem, you're good too. But I do want to draw your attention there to that far right column and understand that when we get to the next page, there are going to be a couple small shifts, and I'll go back and explain what we tried to do there. All right, flip to the next page. So, as was mentioned, the biggest changes happen in the class of 2030 and beyond. So I'm going to start there. Arts education stays the same as it currently was for Concord High School, and English stays the same, 4 credits. You're going to see math goes down to 3. I will explain that in a second. Science goes down to 3.5. Social studies goes to 4. And if you remember a few slides back, I did say social studies is where there was the largest increase in the 306s. Health and PE stays at 2. And there are some additional 306 requirements. So now I'm going to break this down for you a little bit. So in the math requirements for 306s, 0.5 of it must be in a statistics or data analysis, and we have a variety of courses at Concord High School that can meet that statistics and data analysis requirement. In social studies, geography had to go to 1 credit. We needed to add in the New Hampshire social studies, the New Hampshire history requirement. And we have already had to mandate per the state as well that all students must pass the civics exam. And the team of facilitators determined that since they already have to pass that, we're going to award a half credit for that. In addition, in the 306 requirements, you need 0.5 financial literacy, you need 0.5 digital literacy, and you need 0.5 logic and rhetoric. However, you do see an increase to 25 credits, and that is higher than what we had expected previously. Here's the biggest reason why. I go back to the value about we value rigorous classroom experiences. The facilitators are proposing that the way in which you earn the digital literacy and the logic and rhetoric is after successful completion of rigorous courses at Concord High School. For lack of a better way of explaining it, it's a bonus credit because you've met those standards across a variety of courses because they're embedded there. So what that means is that they don't have to sit through another semester course. What we're saying is because digital literacy is embedded in your English class and your probability and statistics class and in your history class and so forth, if you have successfully completed 9th and 10th grade at Concord High School and taken robust courses, you are going to be awarded that 0.5 credit. In addition, we're doing that with the logic and rhetoric as well. Logic and rhetoric. Our facilitators had debates over this. Math wanted to own it. Social studies wanted to own it. And we finally said, well, look at all of the standards across the board. The reason we all own it is because we're all teaching these standards. So what we determined is that when you have successfully completed robust courses at Concord High School, you are awarded the logic and rhetoric because we have met those standards. The beauty of us now having the curriculum maps at Concord High School is that we can even go in and identify where those standards are being met, and we can align that throughout our entire building. So the reason we go from 24 to 25 credits is because 1 credit of it is not students sitting in a classroom, and so that is how we are managing those two. The financial literacy and the statistics, we have menu of courses, the facilitators all, and let me just explain. Curriculum facilitators are, I think you've met several of them when we present courses, but if you're not on the instructional committee, maybe you haven't met them. They are classroom teachers, they teach several classes, but they also oversee the curriculum and the budgets. They're not supervisory, but they are everything else like a department head. And so they oversee certain departments. And so it was really important that they looked at this. They actually then created, collaboratively, lists of courses across different departments that met the statistics and data analysis, that met the financial literacy. Great. And students will have to select a course from that menu to meet that requirement, is what they will have to do for that. We felt it really important to keep English at 4 credits. We value that. We always have. We thought that was important. And so now that's 2030 and beyond. I want to go just to 28, 29 briefly. Remember I said there are a couple slight adjustments. It stayed at 24 credits. However, We made some slight adjustments so that we can begin to prepare for where students may need to start shifting where they're taking courses. If you think about this progression and us preparing for the class of 2030, we know that where we might need sections of things may shift. And we don't want to end up in a situation in the classes of 28 and 29 where we haven't prepared and given some space for us to be more flexible with where we might need teachers to be teaching things based off of the requirements. So if you flip back and forth between there, arts education and English stayed the same, but if you remember that it used to say that math was 4, we went to 3.5 because we know that students will start be looking at taking the financial literacy requirement and might need some wiggle room there. If you notice, science went from 4 to 3.5. Once again, we know that students are going to need some wiggle room as we prepare for the class of 2030, which I know feels like a long time from now, but it's not. And social studies, you notice we kept that the same at 3. We haven't made any shifts yet. And what we did is we kept it at 24. We just made it so that they have more electives. So that's where they're making up that difference. If they choose to start moving in the 306 direction, that's great. But they have that room in their electives. Do we want any questions on any of that? Do we want to?
I had a question about the social studies. It says geography 1 credit, but on the 306 sheet it says world history, global studies, or geography. It just seems strange to me that there's nothing beyond our borders in our curriculum. So I wondered if you could answer that.
So in the minimum standards as they stand now, it does read world history, global studies, or geography.
Okay.
So it's not an and. So with the way the curriculum has been is that students take that geography credit their freshman year. If they're unable to meet that credit, then we do have World History 1 and World History 2 that they can use to meet that requirement.
So we're requiring geography as opposed to giving an elective between world history and I just...
Jim, is it still set up GAC as it was before? So it's
As in the two
geography
semester,
and
yeah.
cultures,
Yeah.
and it's global. It's like a global studies of both geographical location of countries as well as cultures
cultural,
across
yeah.
the world.
But world history?
What it does is it walks you through something you may recognize today and how that culture or that geographic region evolved from their history to where they are presently. In some of the cases, in a nutshell, I'm not doing it full justice, but
I'm really struggling with this because our country is turning 250, and so the history of the world is a lot. And I know we do some of that in middle school and not, but it just.
no, I would say it does cover a lot more than just geography. It does get into the world history aspect of it, and then there are several other electives that do offer that as well.
Yeah, I think it's important to remember also that the 306s were not developed by educators. Educators provided insight as to what these standards should be, but those insights were largely ignored. So you do have a lot of people who created these new requirements with zero experience in a classroom
But they're saying it can be any of these, and we're saying it's geography. That's my problem.
That might be shorthand, is what I'm thinking.
It is. So our 9th grade geography course is world cultures, just so you're aware.
That's not world history.
Nope. And I will share with you that our social studies department is very concerned about their global electives being annihilated by the 306s, to be honest. So we do have some wonderful global studies electives, and given the focus in the new 306s on New Hampshire specifically and on the Constitution specifically have been challenging for us to navigate.
Yeah, but it sounds like we're choosing geography over world.
Yeah.
Says we could do world history.
I will share with you, yes, it does say you could do world history. We also have to meet geography, though. And so as a result of that, since we already have a 9th grade world geography course, it makes sense for them to earn the full credit in world geography.
Wait, I'm sorry, I didn't understand that. They have to do geography
In 9th grade. The
and that
9th
requirement is set by Concord SAU?
It's been a curriculum that's been world cultures geography in 9th grade.
I'm having real struggles with the social studies portion of this curriculum. And I know we're working in this state framework, but I just can't see sending kids out into the world where they know geography and culture, but we're not teaching them, we're not requiring a world history class, but, and so, I'm not there yet.
We haven't required world history as a requirement.
Never.
Ever.
It's not
Yeah, this isn't-
required, but it's one of the more common
Right.
electives
It is,
taken,
and
period.
we've taken away all the social studies required.
Well, let's get, so are there any other questions? Because I think, Pam, it's not gonna resolve your concern. But I think once we share a slide that shows the menu of courses that meet some of the other requirements, it might help. But are there any other questions just about the credits and where we assign them?
I'm curious that when I see the next slide is about stakeholders, so maybe you'll get there. Have college admissions directors been pulled into this or given any kind of feedback? Because I just wonder how we're going to interpret. I wonder how this would be interpreted by college admissions.
That has
folks.
been a real concern, that a New Hampshire diploma will not be competitive with other states. But again, the people who were making these decisions had no experience in a classroom, and it was largely politically motivated.
Well, I mean, my parents work at UNH, and like I'm wondering about one of them's an admissions director, and I'm just curious what her feedback about something like this would be, and if we've made an effort.
Two things. One is, yes, they had opportunities to be part of the forum. Sarah, I also got to be part of the forum. I would agree. I'm not sure if any input that was given was taken, but that's neither here nor there. What I will say is college admissions offices are looking at transcripts that are far less direct and detailed as ours and making decisions on enrollments for students. It really comes down to the school profile and us doing a great job of explaining where things are embedded, and then they're able to interpret that. But we've done, when we were doing the competency-based education transition, some of the transcripts they shared with us made no sense to me as a 20-plus year educator, with words such as, letters such as N, S, and P. And that's it, and just whether they got awarded credit. So I'm not as concerned about college admissions and their ability to translate our transcript and figure out where students lie. I mean, what it comes down to is just ensuring, going back to what we said earlier, that we're having quality learning experiences. Students are having quality education in rigorous classrooms with teachers, and maintaining that, not losing that, period.
I think just to remember that one of the things that we worked really hard to do with these requirements is keep electives at 6. So just to answer your question about what are most high schools, if they don't have the bizarre transcript, are going to have 4 years of English, 3 to 4 years of math, 3 to 4 years of science. That's going to be pretty traditional across the board, which we maintain. Where students really start separating themselves is often what electives they're taking and how they're challenging themselves. What we felt was really important is to maintain a high number of possible electives for students. And I think what we tried our best to do there is to think about ways to integrate the standards within the digital literacy and logic and rhetoric as being those credits you earn, in conjunction with taking other courses. The elective piece is very important to us. That felt important to maintain because we have students in our school district who are passionate about the music program and want to be in 3 different ensembles. And we didn't want the new 306s to get in the way of that. We have students that are passionate about science programs and want to take every AP science course we offer, and we didn't want the new 306s to get in the way of that. So that's something we know that the Concord parents and community value, and we didn't want to see that go away. And that was challenging to navigate. I'll tell you, there's been a few iterations of this that we've had to go through in order to maintain at least the 6 elective credits. That felt really important for people to have choice. Sorry.
I'm so sorry to throw you two. I would love your thoughts on this. Clementine and Erin. I'm so sorry. There's the concern on the table is not having a course that's world history. Instead, we have geography, and it looks like geography's been on here. We're kind of keeping status quo by doing this. But I'm curious, as graduating seniors, junior, do you feel like there is a miss there? Or do you feel like through the electives, students
have that opportunity to dive into world history?
I mean, we do have like a lot of social studies classes, like AP European history, and there's also a class about like ancient civilization, but it is electives. And some of those classes, like ancient civilization, some of those classes won't be able to run because not lots of kids are taking them.
Okay.
Yeah.
And language classes? Or not really?
Language classes they're electives.
Yeah. I also don't think they explore exactly what a typical like history class would. I mean, I think like taking GAC the freshman year, I feel like they cover what they need to cover, but then when you like want to like learn more about like other places, like their history, you have to like take the initiative and then apply for the elective. So I think it's pretty complicated.
No offense to the GAC curriculum, but when I took it my freshman year, I thought it was kind of stereotypical about certain regions of the world, especially when it came to China. They kind of painted China as this big communist country and didn't really delve more into like the culture and like the beauty of it.
Yeah, I just want to add to that, which is kind of why I mentioned earlier we have the Around the World event that Be the Change hosts, where we talk to like the sophomore. Typically it's like the freshman year because like those are the ones who are like getting exposed and taking the GAG classes. So we typically like present to them to actually educate and like speak about the countries that everyone comes from, so they get like a different perspective. Because I agree with Erin that when I took GAC, it was like very like there was a certain perspective or light that was shown on it, and I don't think it was very in-depth or like explored all the different values that other countries hold, and they didn't have like a lot of historical significance as well. So I think, that's what I think.
Sounds like we need to create a really fun, interesting, awesome new class around world history is what I'm hearing.
I'll create an anthropology.
Yeah, I just want to follow up. One of the concerns, and we list all of these, you know, the opportunities to have great electives, but one of the concerns that parents have expressed is the fact that those electives aren't really available all the time to the students, or to be integrated into their regular classes. Anybody who really wants to take AP classes has to take VLAX PE because there's just not available at that time. And I've heard many, many parents say that. So I'm curious as to your experience. Were you able to get in and get all of the AP classes and still get all your other classes as well? Was it available to you?
I take a lot of AP classes at my school. I do have to take some VLAX classes, so I'm able to like take my AP classes in the first place, because AP classes take like a whole credit. And I know that I took economics on VLAX. I did my gym credit on VLAX. I'm doing my health credit on VLAX, so I can make room to take those AP classes.
Yeah, and I've heard that the schedule-wise is that people try to fit that in, but the one thing I would be really curious is to just what percentage of our students take health and gym on VLAX. I'm kind of a little curious as to whether very many students at all take health and gym in the actual high school.
Those classes are packed.
On that same note, it looks like from this sheet that we're required to do a half a credit of health and education, lifetime wellness, but we're requiring a full credit.
So the Intro to Lifetime Wellness and Apps of Lifetime Well, Intro is a 9th grade course, Apps is an 11th grade course. 0.25 of that is PE and 0.25 of that is health. They integrate the two together. So that is why it looks like a full credit of health, but it's actually half a credit of PE and half a credit of health that they earn in combination of taking both of those courses.
And that's the same ratio as when I was teaching health.
Yes.
It was 1.5 PE, half a credit health.
Yep. They integrated it. I mean, and it's in the same strand that we talked about in the integration of competencies and standards. The PE and health teachers really see the value of the interconnectedness of the physical education and the health education. And so teaching it together in a semester course versus what Barb will remember, another 125 kids every 8 weeks, every 9 weeks, does not create a wonderful, robust curriculum because you barely get to know the kids and they're walking out the door. Right. So the PE and health departments worked hard at creating an integrated course. But I can understand where the wellness looks like it's a full credit of health, but it actually is 0.5 and 0.5.
So
Any other questions?
if we were to continue with this presentation, we don't have to vote on it tonight. If you want to make a recommendation back to the team, we can do that, but as just an initial introduction to what the 306s are requiring, we wanted to get this overview and make you aware of any of the changes that.
I mean, I certainly would like to understand better what this one credit in geography is. And I understand preserving electives, and I think it's important, but I also think it's important that we not be, despite the current Board of Education, the current Department of Education, that we not be so narrow that we do not send people out who understand the world and have a basic knowledge of the world. So that is one of my concerns. And I just, maybe it's because I was a kid who loved social studies, so that, but we're, sort of taking away that required elective that might give them that back, and,
Yes, maybe it's the color coding or it's the end of the night or something, but I definitely need more time to consider this. I think this is a sympathetic audience, and I'm having a hard time understanding what's being communicated.
That's why I
here.
said we as a facilitator group have been talking about this since July. So I totally appreciate that. The one caveat is, remember, 8th graders are going to start requesting courses in February. Those 8th graders need to know the new requirements because that puts them in a catch-22. And I'm all for recommendations as well about new courses, but we would need a new course for 9th graders for next year. So just know that there are some timeliness pieces, not that we can't work within that. But there is some timeliness to this needing to be communicated to families in late January at Runlet.
And this will be in the program of studies that the board will have an opportunity to vote on, right? Correct? All right.
Yeah, in the future, if we're going to see items like this, I would need to factor in more time for consideration.
I just want to say we appreciate, and speaking for myself, appreciate all the work you're doing. We appreciate the fact we're not trying to blast you at all. You have a board that is extremely concerned and interested and invested in our curriculum. That's a really good thing, and so we want to understand. And we want all of our parents and those that we represent to understand, but we do very much appreciate your hard work in this. Don't have that message come through.
Ms. Campbell?
Are we able to see how many folks are doing gym through VLAX?
We absolutely can.
Okay.
Yep.
So do folks want to vote on this tonight, or?
Well, can we go, there's a couple more slides,
Yeah,
it
go
might
to
be
slides.
helpful,
Yeah.
yep.
Thank you.
So a lot of this has been touched on already throughout the conversation, but some of the big changes, we're taking that electives that we shifted to 7.5 down to 6. And I'll show you on the next slide, I've created a menu of courses that meet the financial literacy and the stats and data analysis courses requirements. So rather than create a new financial literacy course that we're going to have 1,300 kids take over the course of 4 years, they can meet their financial literacy credit by taking any of these courses that are currently offered, which is why you see the decrease in the math from 3.5 to 3, as that marries with our stats and data analysis, as we've had the curriculum facilitators go through and identify all the courses in which the standards put out by the new 306s are met within the courses that we currently offer at Concord High School. So any of these courses that students take, including the 4 that are within the math department, would meet that stats and data analysis half credit requirement.
And I did want to mention, in working with the assistant superintendents in the Lakes region who have been working on the 306s for their district presentations, which are all occurring right about now to the boards, there are districts who are in much dire need when it comes to the 306s because they're needing to add a social studies class, they're needing to add a science teacher. But the fact that we have so many classes and course choices where we can embed the competencies, it makes it's less of a struggle for Concord High School. The emphasis of the 306s is not on seat time. It's not how long you are sitting in a class. It's how well you are exposed to and demonstrate your understanding of various competencies. So it's a little bit easier of a lift, notwithstanding the fact that what Ms. Robinson said is correct. There's been a lot of pushback from educators, but the stake is in the, in the ground, and we're ready to roll, and we can make adjustments as advised. So the next steps would be to communicate this more to the families and students. You remember that's an important part of it. To look at our junior.
Oh, can I?
Sorry,
yeah,
Debbie, you
you
want to
want-
speak to the junior seminar?
So,
Sure.
Jim, you've brought this up, and I think somebody else did, about having to take so many classes through VLAX. And we're aware of that as well. And so what we are going to propose to bring to you next fall, so people of the instructional committee, when you love when we come, will come next fall. There are some courses that are being created, and actually one of the benefits of a NEASC visit is some facilitators had a chance to go up to Hanover, where it's a course that is very student-driven and allows you the opportunity to meet a variety of standards in that one course through, for lack of a better term, a passion project or a capstone project of some kind. And as a result of that, now you're jealous, aren't you? You're not staying, I know. And what it might allow for you to do is earn up to 1.5 credits of your choosing, perhaps 1 in PE, 1 in personal finance, and 1 in English per se, through a passion or interest in a summer trip you took. And as a result of doing that, you might put together a formal presentation and be able to earn the credits. As a result of that, you could combine, and it's a win-win. It's a win-win in that you're a student who's had an opportunity to do a presentation, encapsulate learning across a variety of content areas, but it also allows for, like Jim's saying, that student who's really trying to fit other things in, you still have that, what I said, rich experience with classroom teachers. So you're with a Concord High School teacher for a semester, you put together this passion project and this capstone, and you show your standards have been met across 3 different disciplines, and then you could earn 1.5 credits in that way. This wouldn't be until junior year, so that we thought giving you the 306s sooner rather than later. This can wait to be presented to you because they wouldn't take it until their junior year, so we can present that course to you in September of October of next year.
So the question that is, parents are sitting back there answering now, and people who are looking to be able to help their children move on to advanced education, all of the requirements in this sort of junior seminar would still be there. It would still be a very rigorous, you need to do
100%.
all of the competencies that are included in any of, say, physical education or data analysis. It would all still have to be there, and that's the point.
You got it.
I'm assuming that's all true, but I just wanted to reiterate because
Yep.
parents are sitting
There are
saying,
some high schools. There are some high schools that have been created around this entire foundation. There's a whole foundation of high schools that have been created with this as their intent. So there's great research and support for how to go about doing
So
that.
this is not a cakewalk seminar. This is a rigorous seminar. Thank you.
Ms. Hastings?
If we were to vote on this tonight, is there an opportunity later on to go back and rename geography to something else, but would still allow you the time you need to get ready to present it to the middle school?
100%. In fact, we even, I think, monitor cost enrollment and balance. We recognize that we have tried to predict and plan for every possible thing. I want you to know that's a lot of what our facilitator meeting, what if, then this, how would this work? But we anticipate that it might be healthy to come back after year 1 and say, how is this going? Where might we need to adjust? What's missing to Pam's point, what's missing from the curriculum for students 9 through 12? What needs to come in place? What might get adjusted? As long as we're still meeting the minimum, of course, that's something we could come back to. And we would want to, truthfully.
In specifically for social studies, says all of this new reconfiguring, to me, it's like measuring a mile or a kilometer. It's still a distance. What are we calling it? So have you discontinued social studies courses now? Did you used to teach something that you don't now? No.
But
So
they used to have a mandatory social studies elective that they don't have now anymore.
there's only, all they have to take is geography and cultures?
And New Hampshire.
Right. Oh, right.
Yeah.
From the 306. But, I mean, Concord High could require.
But they're not in this plan. That's part of the issue.
But I think do we need to create a new class? So if there's a class that exists, this to me doesn't seem like a big deal. I mean, if it's important that, I mean, okay, I'm not in your seat every day, so it could be an incredibly big deal when it comes to logistics, but I don't know, it's just so semantic based, it just sort of drives me nuts, quite frankly, as an educator and a teacher. So, yeah, I think the kids so under current requirements, all Concord High School students take world history, or they all take a history elective?
They take a geography that covers.
That I
the
understand,
world
Gracie
history.
did all that, but I don't
That
understand
covers it.
what.
They don't have a specific world history class they have to take.
I thought you said they did and they don't anymore. I
They
thought
had
that
an
was.
elective that
Right.
they don't, and we're taking, and the 306 would say world history, global studies,
No, that I
geography,
understand.
And
So-
we have a choice, and
Right.
we're choosing one credit, it has to be a half credit, and we're choosing one credit of geography. And I have not had an opportunity to look at our social studies standards before,
Right.
and I have a problem with that.
Right. Okay, no, I understand, but I guess what I'm saying is, at the end of the day, are the social studies offerings any different? Yes or no?
The course is the same.
Yeah. Like, have we discontinued?
Every
No, can you go to the menu slide? So I will share with you, we have been able, keep going to the menu. I think we skipped over it somewhere.
This way?
Yep.
This is actually a perfect logic.
Next
Right.
one.
Not all X's are
Where's the
Ys.
New Hampshire? Did we have a,
Some
did we not
Ys
put
are
in the?
X's.
Yes.
We didn't put in the New Hampshire
Every year,
ones?
When the high school comes
Okay.
and presents the
Sorry,
program of
I'm sorry.
studies. Hold on one
No.
second, guys. Every year when the high school comes and proposes a program of studies to the board, part of that is we're in a continuous evaluation of our courses, looking at the curriculum we're teaching, looking at the minimum requirements, looking at what's currently going on in the world around us, and evaluating the value of what we were teaching before in a previous course and revamp it. We highlight new courses we offer every year, which tend to be, tend to be around, common trends that are coming out as a need for students. But every year that comes forward is an opportunity that, as a school, we have evaluated what we're offering in our programs. We've evaluated as a department. We have discussed it with this facilitator, which is our building leadership team, have discussed what these courses should be to prepare our students. So the answer to your question, Brenda, it's an annual process. Every single year, every course can be and is discussed, can be changed.
Ms. Binker.
So it sounds like to me that we have a couple of things happening. Number one, this is a lot of information. You guys have presented it beautifully, and thank you, but it is complex. And we have some members that would like some time to absorb the material.
Yeah.
Understanding that we are on a timeline. So I would say the latest we could push this out is January. There sounds like there might be a curricular challenge and maybe a curricular opportunity with GAC to create some flexibility, to maybe touch on world history issues, maybe to explore that in instructional. We do have an instructional meeting between now and January that maybe we could have
Right.
time to
Next Monday.
workshop to
That's
see
a
if
good
it's
idea.
something feasible to bring as a suggestion or a proposal, something for you to consider in the coming year, because it sounds like it's an annual process anyway, maybe with feedback from students on what the existing course is covering. So I feel like there's a way for us to push through this
Yes.
this evening,
I
which
agree.
is that I would propose that we hold off on the vote until January to give people the opportunity to absorb and potentially have conversations in instructional. And then we just move forward when it's time in January. Does that sound good?
So is that a motion to table this until January?
Does that
There's no motion on the table.
Can we
Yeah.
ask, is January enough time for you? Or were we right
Just
up
be
against?
honest.
Yeah,
Are
it's
we
okay.
up
I mean,
against
it's the program of studies. We need to bring the program of studies to you for approval. This is in the program of studies. So, and not that this is a big deal, it's not the end of the world, but we need to print 1,300 copies of the program of studies, which takes almost a month to print.
But
So-
since they haven't been approved, we have time to do
Correct,
that.
correct. So we were hopeful to be able to send to the person who puts it all together, we're good, give us a draft so that we can get the draft together. But at the end of the day, more time so that everybody understands it makes tons of sense, So we can put in a page, we can put in an there's all sorts of things we can do. We can make that work. We want everybody to understand it and feel comfortable with it. That's always what's most important.
It's a very, very dense document, the
Yeah.
306s, and it
Yeah.
takes a lot to unpack, so I fully understand the need. this was sort of the fastest we could get it to you. But what I could do is change the agenda for our next instructional committee meeting and make this a priority.
Which would be Monday, the 8th, next Monday.
Yes, maybe we could get a couple of social studies teachers to come.
Yeah, I would want to make sure they understand what they're coming for.
Yeah.
You know, I would want to make sure that it's a
They're
work
prepared.
session of some kind or something to be able to make sure they're.
We can check in tomorrow and we can discuss what would be valuable to bring to the instructional
Because, and
committee.
just to
Yep.
clarify my understanding, I'm hearing, and I could be completely wrong, that you might prefer to see a .5 world history and a .5 geography.
Or a .5 elective and a .5 geography. I mean, yes, I
Rather than a
personally
1
would
point.
prefer that we gave some introduction to the rest of the world.
Can I just see that
But,
And my reservation really had to do with stepping back that math requirement and how we explain that in the document, because I don't think it's intuitive.
So it's an opportunity
To go over a few
as
questions
board
that we have.
members,
Okay.
workshop how we're feeling, what we're thinking, what our goals are for the district long term, how we create that sort of messaging and flexibility in tandem with the hard work that you're doing.
I mean, I agree with that. I mean, I think partly if you included statistics and data analysis and financial literacy as under math, people might understand that you're not eliminating
However,
math.
you
but
get
apparently,
we're required a half credit of statistics and data analysis, of which you can fill it with AP European
That is
history
correct.
or statistics and probability and statistics. I have a very hard time imagining that half of the AP European history class is statistics and data analysis.
I'm a little.
I'm be a little
When you
concerned
look
that
at
you're
when
not getting.
when you look at the standards that the 306s identifies, though, you recognize that you can meet those standards.
I guess the question is, should we consider that a sufficient grounding in data and statistical analysis?
I mean, these concepts, these things that were written down as like mandatory for the minimum that we have to meet, we're not done really with like the end user in mind. So like these folks are really digging through a very dense document written in legalese where like the difference between the words shall and may just completely throws off whether you offer a class or not. Like I spent like 3 years following this process, and I don't think we're gonna find a better outcome.
I understand what you're saying, and I don't disagree with the problems with the 306s, but we are setting how we're going to implement them. And I think the question is, do we really want to drop down a math credit, or do we want to say statistics and data analysis? Those are math.
It's important to read the competency as well in terms of the depth that it's asking for stats or data analysis, and the conversation you're having is exactly the one that our social studies and math curriculum facilitators had, and it was a spirited one. And in the end, that was the menu that was decided upon because the math department heard what they needed to hear in terms of if we're giving up some stats and data analysis outside of the math department, we need to know you're matching the competency, you're meeting it. And they were comfortable that that's the menu.
Right, and once we understand that reasoning, I think we can be your supporters in messaging this to the community, because I think if these are expected arguments that we can anticipate hearing, and we've spoken about the importance of plain language when we message with the community about competencies, I just really hesitate to put a document out publicly that steps back math requirements without a plain
But
language
you're
explanation
gonna need a
of why.
lot longer than December 8th, though, to go through each of these competencies and look at each of these courses and have those spirited conversations. I think there's gotta be some level of trust in the curriculum facilitators and their expertise.
Right.
And I respect that, but I think
It's not about lack of trust.
it's not about lack of trust. It's about whether, as a district, we want to say that you can meet your statistics requirement as a social studies thing, or whether we think you need to have a more math-based. And that, I think, is the question, like, we're struggling with the same as social studies. I don't doubt that your folks did a great job trying to match with what the 306s are. I think the question is more about our values and what we value as a district. And a few years ago, we said, we want more math. And we as a board voted and said because we had heard from our community and we said, we want more math. And now we're going backwards.
And the irony of saying we want rhetoric too, but we are not going to provide the arguments of why we made this decision is ironic.
So if we could, if possible, concerns or questions the board has, if you could funnel it to myself and Kim, and we can work with this team to be prepared for December 8th instructional meeting, and hopefully with targeted points. It is a quick turnaround. I'm not sure that we'll have a teacher representative from each department available to speak to that, but we can definitely get that information.
A course description from what the courses are
Yep.
would be a start, I think, for that too.
For every course?
For the course, well, for statistics and data analysis.
The
that
areas
you're
of
saying
question.
Would meet I would like to see how we meet it with European history. And I would like to see a course description for what we're saying is the geography.
Well, geography and cultures.
Looking at the December calendar, instructional is slated for the 8th, and city and community relations is slated for the 15th. How about if Kara has kindly offered to sort of see if we could flip those, if city and community was, to give you guys a little bit more time?
That'd be hugely helpful.
Is that reasonable?
It's Barb, I think.
Yeah,
city
Barb, is that
community.
okay with you? Can you do the 15th instead of the 8th? Or the 8th instead of the 15th?
Yep.
Switch, so you'd be
Yeah,
meeting
we don't
next
have any
week.
big pressing things anyway.
Okay.
so-
Okay. Okay, thank you.
So our takeaway is that
That gives you to the
we'll grab,
15th.
It's a little
we'll
help.
get some questions from you, we'll put together a team, and I'll change the agenda for what we originally had for the instructional committee, and we'll make this kind of a work session, back and forth, talking, work some things out. If there's any recommendations that come out of it, they'll be at the January meeting.
I'm wondering, I mean, we can also, can we send a copy of the document that has all of the competencies and standards for the 306s to all of you ahead of time to go through?
That would help.
That'd be great. You know, and if
It's-
board members could try to get your questions to them by the 8th.
Yep, and that's what I'll do.
By the 8th, got it.
Yep.
That's fantastic.
Okay. So we can get that to them.
And the curriculum maps of those courses as well.
Yep.
So I apologize that this took so long for us to go through. It's difficult to bring to the instructional committee and then here and do it just deserves. But I appreciate the process and I appreciate the pushback. I appreciate hearing your voices. And we'll just continue to work on it and aim for the January board meeting for a vote.
Great, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, y'all.
I'm now going to open it up for public comment. If anyone would like to testify, you can come sign in up front. Anyone? All right. I will. Oh, okay, great. Oh, the sign-in sheet's right there. And you can speak into that microphone. Hi, could you just introduce yourself?
Sure. My name is Nicole Armaganian. I live here in town, and my comment is really about the Memorial Field project. Probably a little unfair to talk after principals and superintendents and the 306s. I do much better listening than I do speaking, so after I went to the city council meeting last week, I just kind of conjured up a little letter, and I think it's just better if I read that, and then just to kind of explain a little bit about myself first. I've lived in Concord now. From graduating UNH, came right here, I don't know, 30-something years ago. I no longer have kids in the school district. I remember when the Memorial Field project first started to be talked about. We grabbed all the little fifth graders from lacrosse practice and marched over to town hall, and in their little uniforms said how they needed a new field, and my daughter's now a junior in college. So this isn't just something that's kind of new. I think it's time. And I'm in full support of going forward with at least the first step of the project. And I understand that to really get it kind of deeper deeper analysis of the project itself. So it was to my counselor, I'm writing to express my strong support for the dedicating city and school funds towards rebuilding our fields into a modern sports complex with multiple fields, tennis courts, basketball courts, and such. This investment would provide our community with a safe, high-quality space for recreation, youth sports, and school programs. A well-designed sports complex would benefit residents of all ages by promoting physical activity throughout the entire year. It would also create more opportunities for local leagues, school teams, community events, which would strengthen our community ties and give young people positive outlets close to home. In addition, improved facilities can attract regional tournaments and visitors, bringing economic benefits to local businesses. With many existing fields aging, failing, unable to meet current demand, now is the right time to invest in infrastructure that supports recreation, education, and community pride. I respectfully urge, I said the council, to prioritize this project and work with the school district to make it a reality. And just to thank you for the dedication to our community. And I really appreciate all that you do. I was here last week listening to the subcommittee, and I was a little surprised that the subcommittee didn't consist of some members from the city council as well as the school board. It was just the school board.
No, the subcommittee had Patrick Fennessy and Jim Foote.
Good. Oh, yeah, Jim was there. He's my
A
counsel.
joint committee, and then it came to our committee.
Okay, thank you.
So this was
But
the
now
school
that you
board
mention it.
presentation.
Thank you
and
for
then
the
city council had
clarification.
theirs. Yeah, so Dave Gill came to both places.
Yeah, and just to kind of understand, it's like, here are the things that I know. My taxes are going to go up. There are a lot of projects going on in Concord that my taxes are going to go up. What has been presented, the plans A through D, are not this Taj Mahal elaborate. It's necessary, and I heard at the city council meeting when they were talking about the police department, it's necessary, and this is just what it costs. And I feel like this project is the same. It benefits everybody. And I think you could argue, if you're a police department, if you never get involved with the police, you never go there. You could argue with, the Beaver Meadow project. If you don't golf or go to a party, that you're not, where I feel like I've kind of stood by as a taxpayer, community member, and let other projects happen, knowing that, and it's kind of like, this is my turn to say, no, this matters. And it benefits everybody. It's not just kids going through the school. And to give you a little bit of background about myself, like I said, I don't have children anymore in the school district. I believe wholeheartedly in supporting my community, which is why I am your varsity field hockey coach. I appreciate you voting me in every fall. Again, just having my life path cross with many of those student athletes. And I just find it's not just the athletes that benefit from this. And it is really cool when I see girls from my team leave and then go to dance, leave and go to band, leave and then bring back their art projects and things that they draw, which my daughter, my older one, is an artist and an athlete. So I just appreciate all that stuff. I feel like we're losing a little esprit de corps, pride in our school. And this is something that I think just takes away socioeconomic difference of where everybody can benefit from this and take pride in it. And like I said, it doesn't need to be looking like a Taj Mahal, but when you have a town like Laconia getting a turf field and a facility to go along with it, I'm not comparing myself to an Exeter and a Dover. It's why are we not allowing our children to be as competitive being on these better fields? So, that's me.
Thank you very
Thank you,
much for
Nicole.
coming
Thank
to
you.
testify.
Come to more meetings.
Thank you. Thank you for your time. I really
Thank
appreciate it.
you. Would anyone else like to testify? Seeing none? Close the public hearing. Next, we have winter coach nominations. Mr. Herbert, are you gonna do those?
Sorry, I apologize, I lost my page.
Page 157.
So we have, for winter coaches, we have Concord High School intramural strength coach, Mike Leonard, who is also currently a teacher at Concord High School. We have the Runlet Middle School boys basketball coach, David Chasey. And then we have Runlet Middle School boys A basketball. So that is boys B basketball, boys A basketball, Derek Clark. And Ashley Lewis as Runlet Middle School Spirit B coach.
I move we accept, I move we accept the winter coaching nominations.
Moved by Ms. Higgins,
Second.
second by Ms. Boucher. Discussion? Seeing none? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion passes. Okay, now we are moving, our first vote is on the donation from Mr. Pennington to the CRTC of a vehicle.
I move to accept the gift from Mr. Pennington to the CRTC for the Ford Focus and express our appreciation.
I would love to second that.
Moved by Ms. Sadowski, seconded by Ms. Robinson. The last time we have the Sarahs going as a team. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Next, we have Memorial Field. Who would like to make a motion?
Can you?
Yeah.
Yeah, because you know all the words.
I move that the school district join the city council in moving forward with the $1.2 million development costs to set the Memorial Field project in motion, splitting the cost 50-50. So we would be spending $600,000.
Second.
Moved by Ms. Higgins, seconded by Ms. Robinson. Discussion. Mr. Richards.
Actually,
Oh, Ms.
Ms.
Meeker.
Meeker was first.
Well, I do have a question. The $600,000 investment, you had mentioned that if we move forward with this, that it sounds like there's a September date for what? For receiving the feasibility report or?
No, for
starting-
getting
the
it started.
feasibility?
You have to do the whole process of who do we
So
hire.
based on that, thinking about what we just saw with the financial report, how we are already we continue to be in the red on a couple of things. Is it possible to make this decision as part of the budget package, as part of our larger budget conversation, as far as balancing what we are choosing to spend money on and what we may save?
So that we wouldn't vote on it until March then?
Exactly.
That would,
That's my
that
question.
would set back several months. It would just,
So the feasibility study beginning in September would not be able to begin in September?
Correct.
If we delayed the vote until March?
correct, because if we vote now, the bidding process and,
It's my understanding that they will start work sooner than the September, although you would have to check with Mr. Gill with regards to those plans.
nothing can happen until it's approved, and then we have no information without the study, and so it would hold up we would hold up the whole project by several months if we wait until then.
And I'd say, generally I am supportive of the project. Like, I think we've all been very excited about the potential of, and the hard work you guys have done as a team with the city to move this forward.
Some of it's the timing of the middle school as well, trying to get certain things done ahead of losing other fields, so that when other fields get lost,
That's a good point.
some of the timing is around the timing of the middle school.
Mr. Richards?
I was going to say, I believe that the city has approved the funds but not allocated them at this time. listening to their meeting, they were going to wait and see what we were doing here. I would encourage this, I support this project and would encourage it at a 50-50 split all the way through. But I don't believe, I agree with Barb, I don't believe the city feels that they can wait on this, although I'm not sure of the exact timeline.
So I guess the question is, when would we owe this money? What budget would come out of? Are we looking to take this money out of reserve funds because it's not budgeted in our current, are we looking to take it out of our trust fund for buildings and improvements because it's not budgeted in this
Right.
budget? And we just passed our window to adjust our budget.
Right.
Yeah, I was gonna reach out to the deputy city manager of finance, knowing if the council has already approved the project, but they didn't authorize any money yet, I don't know what they're doing. Now, their bond sale is next month, so they could be doing a bond anticipation note and borrowing this. I don't know, but I'll know tomorrow morning.
yeah.
So if that's the case, if it's anything like the fuel farm, where we had a memorandum of understanding, they borrowed it, we paid over the length of the bond. So that is what I want, that's what I'm thinking they're going, but I would want to confirm that with them. I mean, I know he and I've already talked about a couple things, but I don't know ultimately whether what they did on that side to appropriate.
So can I modify the motion?
Well, Ms.
Okay,
Robbins,
sorry.
let Ms. Robbins say
Yeah, sorry, I kind of lost it. I had a question about time. It'll come back to me if it's really all that important. I'm sorry.
I think that the city owns Memorial Field, so, Mr. Dunn, I think you're accurate in your portrayal that they would go out to bond and we would pay them.
I think that would be probably the best part if they can, rather than us giving 600,000 out of your reserve that you have $1 million left in.
Right.
If that's what they're doing, but I need to confirm. So if you want to prove that you want to do this conditional on,
Conditional on
reporting
your
back what the
conversation.
funding is, yeah, and then you could always reinforce it in January. I don't think 1 month will kill them, but at
No,
least
not at all. So
it's said that, hey, we want to move forward too. Have the
We gotta have some.
have the penny people put it together.
Fine,
Yeah.
print
And
conversations.
I believe I'll know what they're recommending.
That's what my question was. Thank you.
so
for
help me
answering it.
reword the motion so that
Do my best.
Yeah, well, no, so essentially, I mean, we could just table it until January. So
would-
Jack can get more information, or we can vote to approve the 50-50 split.
Contingent upon.
Contingent upon, knowing how the,
city bonding
yeah.
for the full
Well-
amount, right?
Well,
And we,
Not contingent upon, but,
And I think because I have general questions as well about when and where is this money coming out
right.
of our bank?
I would say we support the concept contingent upon a report on how
How
this
it
is
will
gonna
be
be financed and paid for.
Yeah.
And that needs to come back for a second
Right.
vote before we move forward, so we can give a general sense of support, but there's some big details missing
Yes,
that I'm not
yes.
ready to say yes
Right.
to until I know those details. I'm
Yeah.
willing to continue
Support,
to voice
yeah,
my
right.
support for the project.
So if you want to reword your motion
I think we just.
indicating our support of this.
So I move that we support we support the concept of sharing expenses for the $1.2 million feasibility study.
And moving
50-50.
forward.
And say again.
And moving
and
forward.
moving the project forward. Contingent, well, yeah, but contingent's the wrong,
Well, it is, if they want us to give them $600,000 right now, we don't have that
oh,
budgeted.
I said, contingent upon the process for allocating
Payment.
funds.
Contingent upon, if I may, a vote by the board to approve the financing of the project, of this stage of the project.
Are you okay with that, Barb? That was a friendly, I think that was a friendly amendment, but you have to be
You have to be,
okay.
what I'm saying is, I think we need to vote
Yeah,
on
no.
how we're gonna pay for
Yeah,
it,
no,
and I
right,
wanna
I would
make sure
agree.
that
Yeah,
comes back
okay.
to us.
I didn't know it needed all those
Right.
words, but yeah.
Are you amenable to that?
Yeah, that's fine,
And I
that's
just
fine.
wanted to ask,
Yeah.
discussion was like, if what we're doing tonight is we are voicing support for this plan, but we are directing staff to discuss a financial proposal with the city that they will then bring to us for a vote in January, then I think we can safely table this motion, because
Right.
it's a nice, clean motion. and then either make a separate motion or, as we've done in the past, just direct staff to have a proposal ready in January. Does that seem?
So would it make sense, it would just make sense to table it then?
We can do that. Yep.
I mean, we're not saying no, we're not voting no, we don't support it, we all very much
Right.
support it, and as
There's
is.
just
I
too many
think
big
that
questions
having the
unanswered.
contingency, it sort of like makes our second motion tied to this motion, you know?
Yeah, that's fair.
The result of the financial proposal will be tied to this motion. I'm not sure that's necessary. I think we
Right,
could
I would
just-
agree, I feel like we're not ready, so
Yeah.
let's just table it.
We don't have the information. we
Right,
need.
Right.
right.
So, okay.
So do we need a motion to table?
Yes.
I move we table the motion until the
Okay.
January meeting.
Ms. Higgins, second by Ms. Robinson. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Mr. Dunn, you will have something pending cooperation from our friends at the city.
I am-
You will attempt to bring us a proposal in
I
January.
will have it to you shortly.
I do want to indicate my support for this project, though, publicly and for the record.
Thank you. And thank you for your work on the committee, Mr. Richards and Ms. Higgins. Thank you. Next, school care, going to page 41, 42. I have a draft motion from Mr. Dunn that I'm happy to read, but I guess a sense of which option people are leaning towards. One, Mrs. Sadowski, is that you're splitting it up into 3 payments and not paying a bigger thing up front?
Yes, that's what I.
Yeah.
I like to earn interest.
Yeah,
And it provides flexibility on the other end,
Yeah,
which is good.
Yeah.
That's one kid coming to
That's based
school.
on the section.
All right, I move that the Board of Education votes to authorize the administration to pay the health insurance assessment of up to $1,996,072.75 based on payment option number 1 that allows the district to satisfy its contractual and fiduciary obligations. The Board of Education authorizes the president of the board or the superintendent of schools to sign the payment agreement.
Seconded.
Go ahead.
Seconded by Mr. Richards. Further discussion. Do we need a roll call on this, do you think, or is it all? Okay.
You can just ask for one.
No, I just wasn't sure if there was a
No
Requirement.
As long as the
requirement.
minutes reflect that you have approved it.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
You got this, Sarah.
Setting do we need a vote on setting a date for a public hearing?
Yes.
We do.
Yep.
And we were going to set the January board meeting as the date for the public hearing. I move that we set
January 5th.
January 5th.
January 5th, I'm trying to get to that page in the book.
Dates I got.
As the date for the public hearing on the bond resolution. Is there a second?
Second.
Second moved by Ms. Boucher. Discussion. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Then we have, policy 415.
We.
Oh,
sort
the
of
new
we
minutes?
sort of already voted? No.
We already voted.
We
on
already
those.
voted,
Right,
there was
we
no
already did.
opposition.
We already did the
Yeah.
minutes. So we are on policy 415.
Oh, okay.
Oh, which we already
No.
voted on.
Voted,
Yeah.
right.
So
Yeah.
Okay.
what I have on my list is
Sure.
the next
So-
motion was authorization and then vertical alignment.
Yeah.
So, is there a motion on the vertical English language standards?
I move that we accept the new vertical alignment English language standards as presented by the curriculum team.
Seconded.
Moved by Ms. Robinson, seconded by Ms. Sadowski. Discussion. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Monthly enrollment reports and other business. Mr. Herbert.
So monthly enrollment, we did talk about, we have had a number of students move into the district over the last few weeks, the month of November. Yeah, we sustained overall enrollment at the elementary school level. It's gone from 1575 to 1572, staying steady there. RMS continues to remain steady with their numbers. CHS, the Concord High School, has increased by 8 enrollments since our November enrollment numbers. In addition, preschool numbers continue to stay healthy. Again, I remind you that when you look at the preschool numbers, is AM, PM, so it's not just one large section of preschoolers together. So we continue to remain healthy numbers across our preschool programs, and our CRTC enrollment has remained steady from November to December.
Awesome.
So I noticed that increasing at Concord High School was all Deerfield. Is that new people moving into Deerfield or them transferring from other schools?
A combination of both.
Combination of both, okay. Concord on, roll tide. Any other questions, discussion? Okay. Calendars, schedule. We have negotiations on Wednesday, building committee on Thursday. On the 8th, we have finance at 5, and now city and community relations at 5:30. On the 10th, we have communications and policy. 15th, we have executive at 5, followed by instructional at 5:30. On the 17th, we have our annual board gathering at Gratitude. And then we are in January.
There's also the CRTC tour on the 12th, right?
Yes, folks can make that.
I will be there.
I intend to be there as well. And the accreditation meeting on the 8th. For those who can come.
What time is that?
2:50?
2:50, yep.
January, organizational meeting at 5:30. Board of Education meeting at 6. The 7th, executive at 5:30. Building committee on the 8th. 12th, executive committee at 5, instructional at 5:30. 14th, negotiations at 5, finance at 5:30. 21st, capital facilities at 5, communications and policy at 5:30. The 24th, the Board of Education retreat, 8 a.m. to 2 p.m. And the 26th, city and community relations at 5:30 p.m.
What's the organization meeting on the 5th?
That's where we need to
elect our
vote new officers, introduce our new members. Yay! Any additions, subtractions, questions, changes?
Just FYI, I won't be here for the retreat, but don't schedule it on my account.
Okay, Mr. Herbert, do we need a non-public?
Yes, we do.
Okay. In a moment, I'll take a motion to go on non-public. Before I do, this is 2 of our board members' last full meetings, and I want to thank Ms. Robinson and Mr. Richards for their exemplary service. You better still show up at your committee meetings. And we are going into non-public under which?
Yeah, RSA 91A3, Section 2.
K, L, and
and
C.
Okay, I will move that we go into non-public section under 91A3, Section 2, K, L, and C. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Ms. Robinson. This is a roll call vote.
Yes. Yes.
Yep.
Ms. Meeker will call the roll.
I'm trying.
Yes.
Ms.
Everybody-
Boucher.
Yes.
Ms. Campbell.
Yes.
Ms. Hastings.
Yep.
Ms. Higgins.
Yes.
Mr. Richards.
Yes.
Ms. Robinson.
Yes.
Ms. Sadowski.
Yes.
Ms. Walsh.
Yes.
And I'm a yes.
Great. We will be coming back into public simply to seal the minutes and adjourn, so we're going to let Concord TV and everyone else go home. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And we'll take a 2-minute break.